I've been in a very good mood lately, and I've been accused probably fairly of being a crotchety guy, a temperamental guy, a curmudgeon about Detroit sports teams, although I would argue there's plenty of good reason to be curmudgeon-y about these things lately. But I've been pretty happy. I'm on the Rams train. I'm enjoying it as if I were a lifelong St. Louis/LA Ram fan. So we're enjoying every aspect of that run here at the Spiro Avenue Show anyway. And things I think are looking up for baseball maybe getting played. I heard some whispers today. So I've been in a good mood. But I have to, as we're setting up this Lions topic today, kind of look at things from a different perspective. Because everyone's talking about Stafford ad nauseum, and we're going to be right back on that track tonight. Not the whole night for part of it. But I want to take more of a macro view of the Detroit Lions. And this is something I've been thinking about lately, particularly the last week or so. I've been thinking about what's really the issue with the Detroit Lions from a big picture, long-term, 60-year view, not what's going on right now. Why haven't they ever been good? And I think you have different theories that are out there, and it's kind of the same, like 4 or 5. I think the fools start out with the curse of Bobby Lane. There's the Detroit versus everybody nonsense. There's people who I think correctly put out that the Fords are just bad. I certainly land there. There's people that think they're unlucky. And I truly believe that the smartest people have correctly identified it as the Fords have been the issue. They have been the common denominator throughout this horrifying 60-year run, almost 60-year run now. It's incredible. But I wanted to drill a little bit deeper on that. What is it specifically about the Fords? Because it's too easy to say the Fords are the one constant, we're done here. What element is it? Is it arrogance, utter stupidity? Is it a multivariate analysis? I've been honestly wondering because I knew it was the Fords. I couldn't nail down exactly what it was. But I think I got it now. I really think I got it, and I decided to play doctor in the last 24 hours and really drill deep into this. So Dr. Justin, if you'll let me play one on TV for a few minutes, is going to diagnose the problem. Here's my theory for the Detroit Lions diagnosis, why we are on this horrible run since November of 1963. So William Clay Ford Sr. famously purchases this organization on November 22nd, 1963. Now, that's the same day that JFK got killed in Dallas. So if that wasn't a bad sign of things to come, I don't know what is. So we're going way back at this point. Now, his first move, the very first thing Ford did of any significance, was to force his coach, George Wilson, to fire his staff. Forced him. Wilson resisted, forced him to do it. Now, George Wilson, 6 years prior, had led the Detroit Lions to their most recent title, which is still their most recent title 60 years later. So this was not some bum. This was a championship-winning, successful coach, the best coach the Lions had ever had. And he put him essentially at gunpoint, fire these guys or I'm getting rid of you. Now, Wilson obliges, agrees to do it, immediately ends up regretting it and resigns. Didn't want to work with these people that were forced upon him. So in the first week of Ford ownership, he chased off the last guy to win a title. And the key here is who was replacing him, I should say, as the biggest influencer in terms of the roster construction and the overall direction of the franchise. Who replaced the champion George Wilson? It was infamously Russ Thomas, who served not as a coach but as a general manager, but had full player personnel control. Now, Russ Thomas, for the uninitiated or the unfamiliar, was a good friend of William Clay Ford Sr. Anybody from that generation that ever went out to a bar in Pontiac back in the day and other towns as well has a William Clay Ford Sr. out drinking with Russ Thomas way deep into the night. This was essentially his drinking buddy. And this is an instructive record. Russ Thomas, who was the general manager for 22 years. And there's the record. In 22 seasons at the helm, 1 division title, 0 playoff wins, and an overall record of 138 and 175. So this guy was almost 40 games under 500, won nothing, never won a playoff game, won 1 division and 22 cracks at it. And this was when the league was smaller, by the way, which is important. And he kept his job for 22 years. Can you imagine somebody for 22 years not winning a single playoff game, winning one division, being 40 games under 500 and retaining his job? No, but that was Ford's guy. That was his buddy. And let's skip a few and go to the second, I think, kind of big one in sort of the modern era is Tom Lawand. Now, what's Tom Lawand's history with William Clay Ford Sr.? Well, his father was the Ford family attorney and good friend of the family for years. So what was Ford's move, fast forwarding? This is the Ford family, fast forwarding down 40 years from that point. It's to hire the son of their good family friend and their family attorney, Tom Lawand. And you look at his record, he didn't last 22 years. 2008 to 2015, 0 division titles, 0 playoff wins, an overall record of 47-65. Atrocious. How he kept his job that long, by the way, blows my mind. But, hey, he was in good with them, right? Let's go to another great example, and we can sit here today and make this as modern of an example as humanly possible because it's the current president, Rod Wood. Let's look at Rod Wood's credentials, the Ford family accountant. He literally controlled the Ford family's personal investments. Personal, not like the Ford Motor Company. Maybe he did some work for them too, but he was their personal family accountant. He was watching the NASDAQ on behalf of the great-grandkids that were coming down the line. That was Rod Wood's credentials. Those were his credentials. That was why he was somehow qualified for this job. And you look at his record as we stand today, 2015 to the present, 0 division titles, 0 playoff wins, 35-60-2. And by the way, there's numerous examples of this. Matt Millen became a friend after the hiring, but kept his job way too long by anybody's account. Bobby Ross, you could even go into the staff. Bill Keenest is still there, although he was demoted. He had a number of run-ins with different media folks for his unprofessional behavior, supposedly. If you're in with this family, you can not only have a job, you can have a critical job. I just listed 2 team presidents and a general manager, one of whom lasted 22 years because Ford wasn't going to fire his guy. So we can say the Fords are dumb, the Fords are stubborn, the Fords just don't care, but I think I got it nailed. I really do. If you want to look why specifically they failed, they run $1 billion corporation like a family-owned hot dog cart. And that's how you get your owner's drinking buddy in power for 22 seasons with no success, no reason to keep rolling him over. That's how you get an unqualified Tom Lawand. That's how you get an unqualified Rod Wood, who you don't have to take my word for it that he's unqualified. At his introductory press conference, famously, he declared himself unqualified for the job. I mean, the optics of this organization's hiring and basically everything they do have been a historical clusterfuck for people a lot older than my lifetime, but my entire lifetime, certainly. And this is how you get here. And this is to say nothing of the brutal optics on a smaller scale, not just their hiring, but their tone deafness and how they handle this thing just generally, how this operation is run generally. My favorite kind of pet one, which Justin Rogers of the Detroit News, great guy, great columnist, a great reporter, he likes to think that I'm overblowing this, but I think this does encapsulate sort of this organization. The draft war room, I think now almost 5-6 years ago, for the Detroit Lions, a team with a historical track record of an atrocious record in the draft, one of the worst drafting organizations ever, if not the worst, has at their main table all the Ford family sisters, the mom and daughters, basically. And I've been told I've made too much of this by some people. Some people agree with me, but here's my position. If you're broadcasting your draft, here's our draft war room. We got our greatest minds, and we're all together here. This is one unified unit. You don't have 4 people who don't know anything about football, don't even know what they're doing, who have no qualifications whatsoever, be at the main table sitting right next to the phone that's supposed to dial on the draft pick. It's just bad optics. If you want the family there, make them a fly on the wall in the corner. But it's just even the small stuff, the minutia. Everything is you're part of the family, so you get to sit at the head table. You know what? In my own family on Thanksgiving, I was told as a kid, you sit at the kids' table because you don't sit here. It's your house. It's my house. Even up until like 5 years ago, I was still at the kids' table. Guy 29 years old. You can't do it. You have to have some deference to the people that actually have credentials in this. None of those people had any credentials. The optics are terrible. So you have this organization with a history of loathsome drafting, and they're projecting this image of just tomfoolery. 4 elderly women with no football qualifications, not just in the room, but front and center. So this has been the history forever. And I think this has been their biggest problem. I think it's the nepotism and the friends and, oh, I love Jim Caldwell. If you're not their friend up front and that's why you got the job, you better get in quickly with them, because if you do, you're going to hold on to your job way too long. And that's exactly what we've seen again and again and again. So this is a fitting start for them. William Clay Ford Sr. was, from the beginning, the grandson of a wealthy icon, Henry Ford. He didn't make the money or create the wealth that afforded them the ability to make this purchase of this organization. So this whole thing was born. The Detroit Lions were born of a handout, nepotistic seed. This is where this whole thing grew from. And it's gone right down the line to the present day. And you look at Sheila Ford-Hamp right now. Sheila Ford-Hamp right now is in charge. She runs the whole thing. You can look up her listed resume. It's actually pretty funny. The work that she has listed in her own public profile is she has a master's degree in teaching, and she won a state championship in tennis in high school. This is the person running a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Her predecessor, her mother, Martha Ford, took over for the old man. Herself, a third-generation member of the wealthy Firestone family. She's never worked a job in her life. She has never had a job. These are the people that are running this operation. And, the owners are one thing, but the people right under them are unqualified. So it's too hard to win in this league. That's the conclusion. It's too hard to win in the NFL as it is. It's so cutthroat. It's a big, big money industry. Even really smart people, really good people, really qualified people don't work out and get fired. So if you're going to be in the most cutthroat sports entertainment league in the world, arguably, you can't be coming to that fight with your friend, the accountant, your friend's attorney's son. You can't be coming to that with your drinking buddy that you go up to the bar at Pontiac with. You can't do it because you're going to get clobbered, and that's what's happened. So it's hard enough as it is. You bring the nepotism in, you're done. And that's why we're here. It's not Detroit versus everybody. It's none of that. So that's how we get 60 years of failure, and that's how we're going to continue to get 60 years of failure until you get someone in there that got their job and maintained their job, not because they're friends with the owner. So that's where I land. That's way too much of me, not enough of our guest, who is esteemed, who's brilliant, who is a personal friend of mine, making a long overdue second return, or second appearance here.
Over a year.
I'm embarrassed. That's on me as the host. I regret it, but it's Adham Beydoun, Woodward Sports Network, host of the Morning Woodward Show.
It's been a minute.
Honestly,
I wasn't even the host last time we did this, by the way.
Well, yeah, but in my heart and eyes and mind,
I know.
I was plugging this guy Adam like way before anyone knew who he was. And as you continue to ascend and you lose my number and you stop talking to me, as so many have before you, I just want you to remember who was clapping for you.
I remember 2 viewers, Justin Spiro in the chat. Don't worry, no.
I was talking to myself and Sam Day's mom. Like, basically, but I mean, that's anybody on their first day.
Such a long time ago. My goodness.
Yeah. Now I pop in there. It's like you got hundreds at a time just watching it live, not like watching the show at the end of the number. I mean, like live hundreds. And for you, you haven't even been there that in your role. I mean, that long.
Not even 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah. I was gonna say less than half a year. So
the beginning was chaos. They were still figuring out, and wow, I don't even know how to describe it honestly at this point. But
dude, I got a much smaller operation, and it's chaotic for us. I can't imagine what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about trying to build a network, trying to host a morning show, trying to become somebody that people want to listen to. That is so difficult. There's always people in the chat, and I try to do my best to give people shit in the chat because I think it's a very important part of it, engaging with your audience. And I shut people up. We shouldn't be talking about Matthew Stafford. Shut the hell up. Yes, we should. The ratings are up. When I talk about Matthew Stafford, it does much better than when I talk about Cade Cunningham. Thank you.
Look, the Stafford thing, the whole he's not a topic. This is the ultimate, the guy's not here anymore topic you should be talking about, because it's the ultimate referendum on an argument people have been having for like 10 years. We've been saying this forever. The Stafford supporters, defenders, apologists, whatever you want to call what I would say is us, frankly. We've always said, like, look, no, is he the best quarterback in the league? No. Is he second? No. Is he third? No. but the right spot, he can win divisions and playoff games. Here we are.
Just like any quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
This was never about Matthew Stafford being Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen even. Josh Allen had more playoff wins before Stafford on Sunday. Well, technically Monday.
Yeah.
Like it never mattered. And, your whole, 15-minute lead up to this conversation about the Fords, it's not a curse. It's incompetency. And you know what? When you make bad decisions as a leader, everybody under you fails. It's that simple. So you can post the record of the family accountant, the drinking buddy. It doesn't really reflect him so much as it reflects everybody under him as well. When you're a leader and you're making bad decisions, like I can be a bad, unqualified leader, but if I hire the right guy under me, I'll look way better than what I really am. Problem is, you never made good hires. There's never an outstanding GM. Where's the Hall of Fame GM in Detroit's lifetime? Where's the Hall of Fame head coach? There's never been one. And then you finally stumbled upon a quarterback in 2008. You finally stumbled upon him. And he really misses his first 2 seasons. So you can throw that out of the book. He was a 7-year pro by the time he played his last playoff game. I mean, honestly, it was like his 5th year. He played 2 games his rookie year, 8 the next year, or vice versa. And the one constant has always been the Fords. It's always been the Lions, the GMs, the head coaches. And here we are. He leaves, he's traded, and in year 1, delivers a division title, a playoff win, and we have the gall, the nerve, to say, well, that's not enough. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's the goalpost moving, though.
I don't even care about the goalposts. The Lions have one career in their fucking entirety, have one playoff win.
Well,
and it came in 91. Stafford leaves for
they
one
had playoff
season.
Wins before that, but
I don't count.
Yeah.
In modern NFL terms, they have one playoff win. The other 6, I guess, if you want to put that in play. But no.
Yeah, I mean, prior to
the Fords, I'm not really going to consider that.
It's 1963. To me, it's very simple. They have had basically no success for the 45 years before Stafford got here. He was here. They had, for them, what was relative success, and we'll talk about that later. And then the second he's gone, they go back in the tank, and he goes somewhere else and does what they said he couldn't do. So you couldn't have a more clear conclusion here, and we're still arguing about it.
I don't understand the people, and I work with some of these people that, well, you know what? Well, he's not great. And Jared Goff could have won the game on Monday with that defense, with that run. No shit! That is the point! When have the Lions ever delivered a run game like that? A defense like that? One time he had a top 10 defense. One time in his entire career.
Yeah, and what did he do? I mean, he went 11-5 and basically got screwed out of a playoff win. So,
we're so critical, and I brought up Peyton Manning not too long ago, and I compared the first 3 starts of Peyton Manning and Matthew Stafford. Peyton Manning in his first 3 starts in the playoffs, 1 touchdown pass. Matthew Stafford, 4.
Ben, what do you think? Should we do the Stafford thing now? Because we were going to get that. Are you ready to do the Stafford thing now, Ben?
Yeah, we could do it.
Let's do it now. Because there's no
There's no order.
Yeah, I didn't get him on tape telling Sam to fuck off or anything. I was going to get more into the big picture, but let's do Stafford now because I think that is sort of the hot topic right now. So
I think it's relevant to everything you just brought up on that screen.
Oh, it's all tied. So, we talked a little bit about the record. Ben, let's throw up that Lions without Matthew Stafford since 2008. So this is things are better with Matthew, which it's true. They're a lot better. Now, look, that 74-90 record that Matt Stafford has had with Detroit when he was the starter here, 45% win percentage, no one's saying that's great. But the Lions record without Matthew Stafford the year before he got here,
0-16.
Right, but I'm combining that with the games that he missed due to injury. And then the year after he left, which is this year, 851-1, 13.3% win percentage. So in the modern history, the Lions are literally more than 3 times better when he's there than not. 74-90, it's like
I'll do one better for you.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford, the last 25 seasons, including Dan Campbell's most recent year, all the way back. The Lions have a 45% win rate with Matthew Stafford. Without him, including the 12 years he was here And the 12 prior, and this year, 26%.
We're right around the same brain here, man, because that's where I was going next. I don't know if we pinned it at the same marker you did. Ben, let's throw up the next one. So this is the decade before Stafford arrived, because the reason we pulled this, the counter that we've gotten. Oh, of course the backup quarterback, Stafford's not going to have a great record.
I could make that argument for sure. I think that's fair to say.
Right.
But
I could also say, look at how many times there's teams that have come in with a backup and literally won the Super Bowl or gotten to 9-7 or whatever. I mean, they don't always just completely bottom out. They just don't. But so the decade before Stafford even arrives, 31-97. So right where you're kind of dancing.
I mean, the quarterbacks for me, just honestly, no wonder I was traumatized as a kid.
That was brutal. I mean, we put up, who did we put?
Charlie Batch, Joey Harrington, John
Culpepper.
Kitna, and Culpepper.
So this whole of course the backup quarterback thing. I'm sorry, any sample you want to pull, the Lions have been bad.
You can go to the 90s. How many losing seasons? And the 90s, honestly, for me, is that's what you want to be as a franchise. It's not overly successful, but you show your fan base you're on the way. I don't want the Super Bowl every year. I'm not stupid. One team wins it every year. Two teams get to the title game in your conference. It is not hard. Win the division one year, compete for it the next, win it any other year. You win the division every 3 years, I would be happy.
Yeah.
At this point. And that's just how the NFL is. It's a cycle. Like this Patriots dynasty, Mike Tomlin he's what? He wins the division, if I did the number correctly, one every 2.7 years. Basically every 3 seasons. So for 2 seasons, Pittsburgh, you're not winning your division. You still like the guy. You still like ownership. You still like your GM. No one's freaking out if you have a down year. That's why I didn't freak out when Jim Caldwell went 7-9. The guy earned an 11-5 record.
Yeah.
You have to give him the benefit of the doubt. And then what happened those 2 years after? You saw a peak. And for me, it's hard to conversate with just standard Detroit Lions fans because they don't even acknowledge these kind of things. Caldwell peaked. Year 1. You saw it.
Oh, yeah. They were
you don't get to win 8 games on fourth quarter comebacks and tell me you're a good football coach.
And who's beating down the door to hire the guy? If the proof's in the pudding, then look at that pudding. Because,
no Detroit Lions coach has ever gotten hired after being fired in the last, 35, 40 years?
Yeah, that doesn't happen. I mean, Dick Joran was an interim coach in Buffalo.
Doesn't count.
That doesn't count. I mean, it's just the bottom line is they can, and you use Tomlin as an example. That's more than I even need. Tomlin's never had a losing record.
Give me Brad Childress or Mike Zimmer.
You're going too far the other way.
I mean, if we're being real,
yeah,
you win a division, you go 13-3, you get to the playoffs, get to an NFC title game. You've shown me you're on the way. As a fan. Now, as a media critic, of course. So when you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. But just from a fan perspective, Justin, these fans are not asking for much. How about not finishing 4th in division for 8 straight years? We start there. That would be nice.
We have very low expectations of the fan base. Not in this room. You and I actually have some baseline standard that I think is reasonable. Certainly not unreasonable. But this is why I get frustrated. And I think you and I deal with a lot of the same stuff. We get called, haters, not real fans. I want nothing more. If they get this thing right at some point, God forbid win a title, I'll be the first one in the parade line. I'll camp out. I'll be there. I want this more than anybody. I think these people make success less likely to whatever extent fans can have an influence. If everybody out there was like you and me saying, screw these guys are stupid. I don't care how insulated the Fords are. Even the Fords behind their big fence are going to have some cognizance of the contempt.
You know what hurts me? Is I can laugh at the New York Giants right now, right? In the last 24 hours, I really can't. They just hired basically the number 2 man in Buffalo.
Yep.
And he's probably going to bring over Dabble.
Very
and
respected
they
guy.
Likely will turn it around. And look, the Lions have Brad Holmes. I'm not complaining about the direction of the GM right now. I really can't. I think he's done a pretty decent job. If anything, the fact that he hit on Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round, I mean, that gives him at least 2-3 years. I mean, you're talking a guy, talent-wise, he can evaluate talent. I can accept it. What am I getting out of Dan Campbell? And I always ask this question, and people get uncomfortable. What does Dan Campbell's peak look like? Right now, I cannot answer that question, which is why he's going to get next year, maybe the year after. But if you're 2-10 come December, it's going to be a really hard sell for me to buy in to, next year is going to be the year. Jim Schwartz went 2-14, 6-10, 10-6. He peaked at 10-6. You saw it the next 2 years. But he earned the right to be the coach the next 2 years.
Here's the thing on Dan Campbell, and I watched your show this morning, caught most of it. And you seem to, I'm going to paraphrase. I didn't write it down.
Feel free.
This wasn't on my prep for anything. But you effectively said something like, I'm good with Dan Campbell maintaining control of the offense next year. Like
yep.
He showed enough.
I'm pushing for it, actually.
Yeah, you seem very pro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I want to make sure I didn't mischaracterize your opinion. So here's where I depart from you, and you and I usually agree on most stuff, certainly on the Lions. We have seen this. There's myriad examples. Honestly, the best one probably locally would be Jim Bob Cooter, where he replaces, it was a Lombardi midseason, offense immediately gets significantly better. And then the next year, his first full season even, it was one of Stafford's best years. They were, I think it was 15. They were having a great year when Calvin left. It was like the year after Calvin left.
Yep.
Jim Bob Cooter was the bee's knees. Everybody makes fun of him, what were they doing hiring Jim Bob Cooter? Why did he get the full-time job? They were lighting it up. Stafford vouched for him. It was defensible. League figured him out.
Mm-hmm.
The league figured him out. Dan Campbell, teams, when they get tape on you, it can take 1, 2, even 3 years for
Lamar
players.
Jackson.
Lamar Jackson's a great example, but there's honestly, even before he got hurt, RG3, there's guys that
my perspective takes that into account, but it's not everything for me. For me, it was the leadership decision. I'm a big fan of leadership in terms of structure in a company. I work at one. I am a figure leader at a company. And as a leader, you're going to have to make decisions in the micro that may look like everything is going to shit. But in the macro, everything works out. I mean, we did this at Woodward Sports multiple times. And when Dan Campbell pushed back Anthony Lynn, and the first 2 games were pretty rough, and then they got better and better and better as they went, for me, it told me the leadership capabilities he has. Now, is he Sean Payton? Is he Andy Reid? I don't know. Likely is he? No, of course. I can be cynical and say that. But I don't know. And why, if he couldn't get along with, I would say, a seasoned coach in the NFL, Anthony Lynn, if he couldn't get him to do what he wanted, why not just take the reins yourself? It's easier for me to judge you as a coach because I don't have to get involved in, the offensive coordinator was the problem. No. Remove the variables. You know what kind of offense you want to run? Do it. I will support it. And if it's awful, it's awful. If it's great, great. Make that decision. You have to make tough decisions.
I get what you're saying, but I think you're making a good argument that I don't even have a problem with for him replacing him in season. That's not what I'm saying.
Long term.
I'm talking about the job next year, calling plays next year. There's not that many guys that do it. McVay, Shanahan still
does it.
Reed, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what people say about Bieniemy. Reed's got the play sheet in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
But the guys that do it are typically savants, established offensive play callers before.
Experience before.
Right. They're established, successful offensive coordinators prior. Mm-hmm. Kyle Shanahan was basically the biggest reason the Falcons went to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And
look how Matt Ryan did after.
Yeah. The guys that do it, and it's the select few, have established chops. I'm fine with Dan Campbell. This isn't working out this season on an interim basis. I'm coming in and getting this some version of right. Yep. I'm fine with that. I'm with you. It's the long-term thing. I think it's pretty presumptuous. There's not that many guys that can do it for a reason. I think it's tough. It takes you out of some elements of the game.
To make that decision mid-season and to offer the job to somebody after, and who wants to come to Detroit? What offensive coordinator, seasoned one, right now? There isn't one. Maybe you find him in college. Now, what you're going to have to do if you're Dan Campbell, if you want to go hire outside, is you're going to go find the tight ends coach, the offensive assistant coach. You're going to go give somebody their first opportunity. Really? That's what you want to hedge your future as the Detroit Lions head coach on? If I'm Dan Campbell, I'm taking the reins. My job's on the line, Justin. I have to get rid of Anthony Lynn. Who do I trust more than anybody in this room to call plays? Myself. Okay, I'm calling the plays. That's it. I mean, I think it's that straightforward. Now, this idea of promoting Deuce Staley absolutely blows my mind. I'm not sure what the qualification is, but hey, all right, fine, whatever.
What are Dan Campbell's qualifications? You're defending
of course.
Dan Campbell. What are his qualifications?
Well, you know what? I saw the product on the field, and I'm not saying it was the greatest thing.
Yeah.
But considering how bad it was to how respectable, it was watchable. It's not the dynamic offense of the Chiefs at the goal line. I mean, it's none of this stuff, and people forget. Anthony Lynn was moving the ball up and down the field. It's just the red zone offense was terrible. So, for me, when you make that kind of decision, there's no going back. The CEO doesn't get demoted as the marketing manager and he sticks around. No, you're either CEO or you leave. Dan Campbell, you took the play calls. Who the hell is he going to give them up to? And what guy has the confidence to come to Detroit with Jared Goff as his quarterback, an outstanding offensive line, no wide receivers outside of St. Brown, and say, yeah, I'm going to get a head coaching job because I'm going to be the coach here? Nobody.
Maybe, but that doesn't mean you don't look. My issue is with the presumption that, I got this. Like, I'm not even going to look. I don't know. I don't think they've announced that he's maintaining that.
No,
right?
they haven't.
Yeah, I mean, that's just sort of the buzz is that he might, and you're advocating for it.
I'm advocating for it. I don't look. If they don't, I'm not going to freak out. It's not going to drive me insane. But again, I look for leadership qualities in people. I work with people every day. I see how they behave. And when somebody's able to make a micro decision, which in the short term, everybody freaked out about, but in the macro, it kind of worked out at the end. And everybody was like, oh, okay, that actually wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be.
They did show a pulse. Again, no problem with the short term. The long term thing, I'm not a big fan of. And this is like.
But wouldn't you want to find out?
No, I don't want to find out. Everything is taking a bet in this league. Okay, it's the same thing with Matt Patricia. I was in support of the hire, not because I thought it would work out for sure, because I don't think anything's going to work out for the Lions for sure. But if you're going to make a bet, I think seemed to be a really smart guy. Everyone kind of shits on him for taking some credit for the Malcolm Butler interception. It was bad timing to bring that in a Detroit Lions
Anytime
loss.
you bring up excuses or your past success when you're under pressure, it's never a good thing.
I agree. I'm not defending him saying it, but I will defend, like, Malcolm Butler is...
He knows the game of football.
Yeah.
Matt Patricia knows the game of football. And that's what I try to get across to everybody I come across. You can work the long hours. You can be the first one in, last one out. You could have all the knowledge in the world. You could have studied under Sean McVay. That doesn't mean you will be successful.
I agree. The point is he was worth the bet.
Absolutely.
There's hires that have not worked out in sports and any business that made sense, that were defensible, that this guy's credentialed, checked all the boxes, seemed to be a good way to go. Everything's a bet because nobody knows anything. And I think if I'm going to make a bet, I want to bet on someone with a little
experience. I'm on board with that.
I just don't buy it. Look, I do not think Dan.
Well, look at where the Lions are at. If this doesn't work, Justin, I don't know if I can handle another project going to crap. Honestly.
You mean the Dan Campbell thing generally, or the
Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes project? Does it work out? And Brad Holmes does have one kind of safety pin that he can always pull. I didn't hire this guy.
It was an arranged marriage. He will get a second coach.
Yeah, he will get a second opportunity.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell does it, and that's why I'm defending him in that context. This is my one. Dan Campbell gets fired. He's not going to be the head coach of any NFL team ever. Book it. So if I'm Dan Campbell, if I feel I have the highest upside of everybody involved with me in the room, Deuce Staley, Antoine Randall, Ben Johnson, if I feel I am the one that is most qualified in this room right now, even outside, to call these plays, I'm going to do it. This is my one opportunity to be a head coach in the league. Why am I going to throw it away? And why am I going to put my trust in somebody who may work out, may not work out? Anthony Lynn didn't work out. Who the hell's to say Dan Campbell's going to pull out some other offensive coordinator that could work out? If you couldn't get along with a quiet gentleman in Anthony Lynn, who, by the way, total professional how he handled it, if you couldn't get along with him in terms of, schematics, whatever it may be, who's out there that you can without making a scene?
The argument, you're making that, if I'm Dan Campbell, I want to control my own fate. I'm even good with that argument. It doesn't make it the right thing to do. Just because Dan Campbell has a defensible position of, he wants to control his own destiny, doesn't mean it's the right move. What I'm saying is it's the wrong move. But I guess at the end of the day, I don't think any of this matters, because this is something I put out this week. I think the one way this organization can really get out of this without the Fords selling, because that's the given that I think we all
and I think
agree.
will never happen.
Probably not. So aside from that, they're keeping the team. The one way out of this where the Lions can win big is to either tank and they pick first, or they land on some guy like Tom Brady.
But they did
6th
already,
round.
right?
Well, but you have to in the right time. Stafford, as great as he is, my argument is they have to land. I listed the two. I gave the two exact names. And not going to be now, but it's got to be somebody like that. Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. Because those two guys.
Andrew Luck.
No. When they come into
they came into losing cultures, so I guess to your point, yes.
But here's where Brady and Manning stood out and stand out in Brady's case. When they come in, the entire organization is them. It's theirs. How practices are run, how things are, what kind of drinks are in the buffet line. Like everything those guys do, it is Peyton Manning's organization. It's Tom Brady's organization. As great as Rodgers is, as great as Mahomes are, both of them better individual just talents than either of the two I'm advocating for. They're not like encapsulating everything with the organization. They need somebody to come in that is.
But that's based on them never getting a qualified head coach and a qualified GM.
I think quarterback's more important. And I think that's the only way that they're ever going to be good. I don't see another path because you have to overcome the ownership. You can have a great head coach. I don't think maybe. I don't think Bill Belichick. I mean, Bill Belichick was with a losing organization with the Browns. And
it didn't work out. And he won them a playoff game.
Yeah, but they not a big success. Tom Brady, Tampa Bay didn't do shit for 20 years.
Yep.
They're Super Bowl champs
I'm so
overnight.
glad you brought that up. Yep.
They're Super Bowl champs overnight. The Broncos were flailing. They were fucking around with Tebow and Brady Quinn.
Yep.
Manning gets there, year one Super Bowl, lost, but year one Super Bowl.
Eventually wins it.
I'm not really giving him that much credit for the win because the defense carried him.
But still, the culture changed.
Right, the culture
changed. The expectation was we need to win a Super Bowl. Peyton Manning's here.
Yes. There's no other way.
One of the Lions ever started a season, even with Stafford, we need to win the Super Bowl this year. We have Super Bowl expectations. Never.
No, I mean,
never.
Not, maybe early 90s. I was like still shitting
Well,
my pants
I mean,
then,
in terms of when Stafford was here, those 12 years, it was not even close.
No.
Good luck finding a Brady or Manning, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying that this is a strategy. Oh, go find one.
I know.
But,
Easier said than done, obviously. But
that's the only way, though, is what I'm saying.
I think there is an alternative universe that exists where the Lions bring in the right GM, the right head coach. But boy, do they need to be hands off. And Rod Wood, again, friend, accountant. There's always the same variable every single time. So if this project doesn't work out, I'm going to be supporting the team till I die. That's never going to change. They got me. That's it. Like, I'm not changing myself. I'm not going to go support the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, I'm a Lions guy. That's it. And my fate is sealed. My kids will suffer. You know? That's what my dad always told me.
I'm with you. I am
but,
too.
like, at the end of the day, you had, and I hate always going back to Stafford, but you had the foundation to deliver enough success to get rid of the same old Lions stigma. And they failed to do it.
I thought that 2014 team, which they could have won that game a million ways, but look, I am the anti-Detroit versus everybody ref screwed us thing. I hate that stuff. And I don't think it's a Detroit versus everybody or the refs tried to screw anybody. But they did get screwed out.
Oh, that was bad. That was really bad.
Yeah, Jim Caldwell also should have gone for it on 4th.
Yeah, well, the Bills lost 2
but
Super Bowls because of a kicker.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's not Buffalo versus everybody.
I think it's ridiculous, but I will say that 2014 Lions team really actually could have won a Super Bowl. I really believe that. They had a top.
Had they kept it together too, you had Darius Slay entering his prime, Glover Quinn entering his prime. If you would have drafted Aaron Donald, that wouldn't have been an issue. They had, we can talk about that all the time and reminisce. And the sad part is, even the players, Joique Bell, perfect example. Even Calvin, he's come out and said it. And of course, Jim Caldwell. We felt like we were a tight end away. That's why you're the Lions.
Yeah.
That's why you're the Lions. We felt like we were a tight end away, or a tight end away. And the time of football where who were the premier tight ends? Tony Gonzalez was heading out.
Winding down.
Gronk was kind of emerging, but that wasn't the de facto why the Patriots were successful. They had one without him. You were a tight end away, Jim? That was it? Not trying to kill the other team's quarterback? Defensive Rookie of the Year, All-Pro every single year since. It's unbelievable.
I mean, the fact they had a competent offensive line. They weren't good, but I think they were like 19th.
They were average. They were middle of the pack.
Yeah, they were middle. They were not bad. They weren't a weakness. They were just average. And Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate, Pettigrew, for all that he gets shit on, was a functional NFL tight end. They had a top 5 defense that Pro Football Focus had them as that. I mean, that year things have changed, but that year they were the second best defense in the past 10 years or something by their metrics.
Mm-hmm.
It was considered an elite defense, even better than some of the traditional.
You know what's funny? That year, every time they played a good team, that defense didn't show up.
That's fair. I think it is interesting because that is the one team that I really thought going in.
I think we all felt that way
going into the playoffs. I mean,
they were gonna beat the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The Cowboys were gonna continue to choke. That was the narrative, and the Lions were finally gonna get over the hump. And 4th and 1, you had an opportunity, and you punted.
Yeah, and what happened with that punt? It was a 17-yard punt.
Unreal.
At least pin him deep.
I love that you brought up Pettigrew and defended him a little bit because I want to defend Eric Ebron. The hell we complaining about Ebron? His first 40 games in the 3 years he was in Detroit, those first 3 seasons, side by side next to Hawk. They each have played 40 games in 3 years. 1,400 yards, 1,700 yards. 7 touchdowns. I believe Hawk has 12. So he's more touchdowns. But Eric Ebron drops the ball. Eric Ebron had a better pass catching rate through 2 seasons than TJ Hawkinson.
What's the difference between those two guys, though?
One has much higher upside, of course.
No, I'm talking about just in those first few years. Ebron had a big mouth, man.
Oh, he was mentally weak. But look, Hawk came into what situation, though? He didn't come into a winning situation.
I'm just saying that's why people shit on Ebron. If Ebron just kept his head down and played hard, that'd be different. He had
a big mouth. He was in the clubs, making a lot of noise, being extremely rude to people.
Prince Fielder, same thing. Prince Fielder, people act like Prince Fielder came here and hit 240 and 10 home runs.
I wish he hit 240.
What? He was better both years. Prince Fielder was really good, especially that first year. His OPS was 920 or something. It's the 7th highest OPS in baseball that year. The second year was down a little bit, but he had 2 good seasons.
No, he was extremely productive.
Yeah.
It was glossed over by the bullpen. It's always been Tiger's weakness, but
he struggled in the postseason. But it was his attitude. The reason people really turned on him was the attitude. It was I got to go hang out with my kids. He didn't give a shit. Why do I care more than you? So I just think I get what you're saying, but whatever. We digress. The point is, we have seen one team that I actually thought was good enough to win a Super Bowl. I certainly think Stafford was good enough to win a Super Bowl. So we have seen them. They didn't get close. They didn't win one game, but we've seen them assemble a roster that could. And then you said it better, the Aaron Donald thing. You could have kept that thing.
That was going on. The Lions, I guarantee you, they draft Aaron Donald. Even if he doesn't become the All-Pro, he is in Los Angeles. They win the division the next year. And Aaron Rodgers, who knows if he retires early? Things always happen for a reason. But the Lions would. That's one of the worst you could have moments in Detroit Lions history.
No hindsight, by the way.
No.
I
everybody was talking about the defensive stud coming into the draft. That was Aaron Donald. And that he would be available. And all the scouts and experts had him available by the time the Lions picked. Very few mock drafts had him going any higher.
I wanted him.
Eric Ebron was our Super Bowl away player. Wow. That's why you're the Lions.
Am I misremembering that? Because I know I wanted him, but I felt 80% of the fan base were all...
I'll tell you where I was that day. NFL draft. Sitting in the basement with my dad and my brother. Always watched the draft together. Older brother. 4 years older than me. And Eric Ebron is selected. And my brother looks at me and he says... He gives me that look and he says, "You're kidding me." And my dad says, "Who the fuck is that?" Because my dad was full-blown Aaron Donald. And my dad doesn't even pay attention to the goddamn sport. And he knew this was the guy. My dad, who's a construction worker, who pays zero attention on social media to anything. And he could figure out that Aaron Donald was the right pick. And I just looked and I had no words. I was silent. And I went home and the rest is history.
I mean, the group I was in, because the site I used to write for, and we had our message board back when message boards were still a thing. It was the tail end of that era. But we were 100% wanted Donald. We were live posting and stuff and talking about it in text and stuff. There wasn't one person that was but even Beckham Jr. or something. Like certainly no one wanted Ebron. And it's funny, like Ebron's whole thing was his whole like backstory of the draft poser little stuff is like, he proposed the day of the draft or yesterday before the draft or whatever. He ended up dumping the girl like 2 months later. So it's like, this whole thing was like
the
off to a
optics
rough
of the whole
start.
thing was
it
awful.
It was rough, and that was a huge sting on what they were doing to keep that rolling. I think that's a great point. Not just we all knew they should have taken him, but just that kind of fork in the road.
What was the conversation recently when the Lions had the number 3 overall pick? Nobody believed in Matt Patricia or Bob Quinn at that moment of time. And what did ownership do? They came out and kindly said, we don't believe in this current team that we've assembled, but we're going to give them this year. If they don't win, they're done. Really? You're going to give those people who you don't believe in an entire season with the number 3 overall pick that could have been Justin Herbert, may I add?
Yeah, I can't kill him for that. I can kill him for not taking a quarterback.
I can kill him for not thinking into the future.
Oh, I
because
killed
if
him
you
in real
knew the
time
roster, if you knew the roster was not good enough, which honestly, a homeless person could have figured out that roster was not good enough to win 9-10 games, even with Stafford. And you think you're going to take a corner at 3 and sign off on it? Oh my God!
You don't let
talk
somebody
about setting the franchise back years.
You don't let him make that pick. Is the bottom line.
Absolutely. But who's qualified in the building to do it? None of them. That's also a big problem.
That's why they had to go. But again, people that
I'm talking about ownership, the president too. Like if you take it out of Bob Quinn's hand, who's qualified there? One of your scouts, maybe.
Oh, Rod Wood can give him some stock tips. I mean, maybe that'll help.
That's always been the problem, and
that's what we laid out.
And here we are. And people say, well, why can't you ever talk nicely about the Lions? I would give my limbs. I offered my arms and my legs for this team to be successful.
I heard you.
Like, I would kill and go to jail if it meant the Lions would be successful for a 10-year decade. I will take one for everyone.
Look, here's the bottom line. They are victim blaming when they come after people like you and me. Why is it on me and people going after people like us? Why is it on us to be nice? Can they be nice to us as a team and give us nice things?
Can we buy tickets to the home playoff game at Ford Field? Oh, haven't seen one of those. Can I buy memorabilia saying we were the 2023 division champions? Can't buy that. Nowhere to be found.
Can you imagine how fun it would be if they were good? Like even not even
it'd
win
be
a
the
title,
greatest
but just
thing
relevant.
for the city. It's something I wish and pray for. It would be the greatest thing for the Lions to be successful.
Look at the love they get for not doing anything.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. I want to say 2 weeks ago, I started the show, 15-minute complete tirade, and what I did was I tried to put success into context. I wanted the general fan to understand what success was and why people like me and you are so frustrated with the Detroit Lions, but not the Detroit Pistons, who have been irrelevant for a decade. Why? They gave me 04. They gave me 7 straight Eastern Conference Finals. I'll be patient, and I'll continue to be patient. The Tigers, they haven't won since 84. You know what? Been to the World Series twice, multiple ALCS appearances. I'll be patient. They've shown me they can get it together. The Red Wings, last cup in what? 08, I believe?
Yep.
I have every reason to be upset about the Red Wings after that, especially the Franzen signing and letting Hossa go. But here we go. I will be patient because you've delivered me great memories. What memories have the Lions given any of the fans? None.
Yeah,
outside of trauma.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I did for those 15 minutes. I just said, this is why people are patient, and I'm not expecting the Pistons to win a title for 5 years, Justin. Hell, I could say 7 years if they're lucky to win a title.
The Red Wings have like a 30-year grace period with me, of which they've used about 7 or 8.
Yep.
So they're in it. But like, I don't need them to never, ever do anything again. I'd like to take my sons and, my daughter if she's interested.
Of course.
But like, they earned a lot of time with me. Pistons less, but still, I'm with you. Pistons, it's time to get rolling pretty soon. The Lions, like, again, would I be heartbroken without a title with some close calls? Yeah, I've lived it with the Tigers.
How do you get rid of same old Lion stigma? What's your theory? What's your
I'll
tell you mine.
Specific criteria?
Specific criteria.
2 division wins in 5 years.
Okay.
Is one. There's a couple
I'll give you
of
a
boxes
10-year
you can
period.
check.
If they won the division 3 times in 10 years, multiple playoff wins, and 1 NFC title appearance, whether they win or lost, that for me is a functionable franchise. It's not asking for much. Win the division every 3 years. But you're going to have moments, guys. I don't care who you are, your team will be bad. It happens to everybody. The Packers went from 67 to 95. 1 division title. Since 95, obviously they've dominated my life, but whatever, it's not irrelevant. It's not relevant, but that's the point. Teams can go. The Vikings, Justin, when's the last time they won a Super Bowl? When's the last time they've been to a Super Bowl? Excuse me.
Have they
77.
Have they ever won?
No.
Yeah.
77.
I was going to say I didn't think they'd ever won one.
77. And you know what? I think a lot about the Vikings organization. I do. They've won divisions. They've been to an NFC title game with Case Keenum. During Matthew Stafford's time, I've watched Jay Cutler, Mitchell Trubisky. Who else? Off the top of my head, that's won a division. Case Keenum's won a division. Teddy Bridgewater's won a division. You can't win a division with Matthew Stafford.
I mean, the Vikings, the best kicker in the league who hadn't missed all year, missed like a 38-yarder in a dome, and they would have been in the Super Bowl.
The Bears kicker.
Yeah.
Like, that team was good. And it probably cost Matt Nagy his job 4 years later.
You can't blame like the organization, oh, they're dysfunctional because a kicker misses like a gimme.
No.
Like, that's where it's like, okay, that's not out of your hands maybe, but it's not a referendum on the whole operation.
The Bills, let's use the Bills. The Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls, and they became basically like the dirt of the NFL for a long time. They were like part of that bottom 5 group. Tom Brady had owned them every single time they had played. They were always finishing 3rd or 4th in the division. And then they draft Josh Allen. And then they get their organization put together. And they hire a good head coach. And what do you know? They've won a division and they've won playoff games. Like, it's not hard.
And they're rolling.
It's not hard.
It's not hard on a long enough timeline. That's the point. Like, it's not hard to flare up and be good every once in a while. They haven't done it. I want to transition to this. Now, the quarterback situation, I've heard a variety of opinions at your network, and I kind of see where both sides are going with this, particularly the idea of drafting a quarterback early, mainly with one of those first 2 picks here in a few months. So I think, in general, most people think this is a good year to sit out drafting a quarterback. You know, maybe you take a project in the 5th round or whatever, but you don't use one of those top picks on them. I kind of land here as well. This is sort of where I land as well generally, but I will say, as you know, these evaluations are difficult to begin with. This class in particular appears to be weak. So it's hard enough to find, even if you think, oh, the class is great. Everyone thought Justin Fields was the beast. He might not be able to play at all. Like, sorry, Joey. But, like, I know Joey thought the guy was John Elway.
Trevor Lawrence would be a bust.
Well, he looks pretty bad, but I'm all in on Trevor Lawrence still. But it's hard enough to begin with, even when you like the class. We all agree this class appears a lot weaker. Now it's even harder to hit in that first round. So I get all that, but there's one element that does intrigue me, even though the Lions clearly do need a pass rusher, and the best 2 prospects just happen to be pass rushers, and they have the 2nd pick. Everything is pointing towards no way a quarterback, right? Certainly not with that 1st pick, the 2nd overall. I was thinking about this past week, though. They have somebody sitting in that front office who's been in the situation before where a quarterback was selected by his ruling, by his decision, got a lot of shit for it, and now he looks brilliant. And this guy's sitting in the room right now. Patrick Mahomes gets drafted in 2017, 10th overall. The Chiefs trade multiple first-round picks and I think a third-round pick to get him, to move up to get him at 10. The blowback was pretty strong. You had a couple defenders, but in general it was pretty bad. So we pulled up some of those clips of Patrick Mahomes post-draft in 2017. This is what some of that looked like. And believe me, we cut a few out. Stephen Ruiz from USA Today, quote, calling Patrick Mahomes a project is a major understatement. He's nowhere near ready to play in the NFL, and honestly, he may never be. Between his inconsistent accuracy due to poor mechanics, his tendency to bail from clean pockets, and his lack of field vision, he's going to leave as many big plays on the field as he creates. This was a risky pick.
Everything he said is true, though. Post-draft. That was Patrick Mahomes coming out of the draft. Now, it takes somebody like the Chiefs front office and a head coach like Andy Reid to get that going.
That's fair.
And they nailed it. They completely nailed it.
That's fair. And I mean,
that was true.
We pulled a few more. With some of them are kind of similar analysis, essentially. But I mean, this is Dan Kadar from SB Nation. Quote, the Chiefs gave up way too much to trade up for quarterback Patrick Mahomes in the first round. If he works out, I look dumb and it doesn't matter. But to give up picks number 27 and 91 this year and a first-round pick in 2018 is too much. And we'll flip to the third one really quick, and then we'll dig into this.
That's crazy.
So Vinny Iyer from the Sporting News, this pick is a C-. Trading up for Mahomes, a big-arm gunslinger who really doesn't mesh with the true mentality as Alex Smith's successor, sets up a bad tone in this draft. So this was before they got into the second round. And so, I mean, this was, Mel Kiper gave it a C. Very few people liked this, okay? You think in real time it was fair.
The first comment, 100% accurate, outside of his opinions. Now, the other two after, opinion-based, I don't like any of those. I think that's wrong. I would give away 5 first-round picks if you told me I was able to draft a Patrick Mahomes. If I believe in a quarterback, and it could be Brad Holmes this year, I do absolutely whatever it takes. And if it means I take him at number 2, damn it, I do it.
So this is where we're going. They have a guy who, in the face of this criticism, stood up there and said, I don't care what you guys think. I got the right guy. John Dorsey, who was the Chiefs president and general manager, who made the executive decision. It was his call. This was his, even ownership said, this was John Dorsey's decision to go forward and trade these picks. It all looks great now. The general consensus, with a few people deviating, was what we presented. Bad pick, overpaid to move up to take Mahomes. John Dorsey smells like roses. This is John Dorsey facing the media. Now, we cut out the people actually asking the questions, but take my word for it, and the responses hopefully will allude to that. They were asking him, like, hey, wasn't this a little bit too much to move up for Patrick Mahomes? So it's a little bit long, but let's roll it and get a glimpse of this.
From the very beginning, all the way back from when we evaluated him back in September, October, the reigning consensus was he's got unbelievable talent. He's got the skill set to be one of those truly great players. And I think sometimes when you make an aggressive move like that, that's why you do it, because these players, very few, they don't come by too often, so you have to take a shot at it, and that's kind of what we did. I think from a compensation standpoint, I don't think it was a lot. This is a really good football player, and I think these types of guys don't come around that often, and I'm willing to invest in that type of player because I believe in his skill set and what he is going to develop into. The quarterback position this is a quarterback-driven league, and you have to have a system in place with a veteran and a younger guy who's willing to develop it. And you have to have these quarterbacks to succeed in the National Football League. All the guys that came here, they were awesome. They all did a really nice job. And then we had them, I had the coaches rank them on their ability to learn the game, retain it, do the whole things. And he was number one of all the guys. No, I wouldn't say, I disagree with you. I don't believe it's a reach. I believe this guy's a very talented player in the future. You know what? I can see this guy developing into a really good football player. So why not take a shot at it? Okay? I mean, there's no reason. This is a quarterback-driven league. You have to do these things to sustain the level you are for 10 years down the road. This guy just wants to play football. You're talking about that. I used to know a guy. He used to flip it into coverage too sometimes. He made it in the Hall of Fame one day. I'm not comparing him, but I'm just saying. Those things happen. Deshaun Watson is a great kid. He has proven that, he's the senior who proved he battled for the title last year. He won the title this year. That's very special. And those guys, that's a big deal. But at the end of the day, we had Mahomes rated above Watson. That's how we saw it.
Wow. So I did file my taxes while that audio was playing. A little bit long, but we wanted to capture. Then that was cut down.
That's leadership.
He stood up there and
in
took
the
those
micro,
questions for 20
everybody
minutes.
questions you.
Yeah.
In the macro, you can throw up your middle fingers. And that's why I get paid to make these decisions. All of you, shut the hell up. I know what I'm doing. That is exactly what happened there.
And a bravado that was vindicated. So the point is that guy up there is on staff for your Detroit Lions right now. that guy is going to be in that draft war room. That guy's going to be involved in every element of the scouting process. The reason John Dorsey didn't work out in Kansas City, in Cleveland, it was administrative, sort of how he handled himself, by all accounts. I mean, I wasn't there, but by all accounts, it had absolutely nothing to do with his scouting acumen. Everybody respects it. This guy's nailed picks all over the place, everywhere he's gone. He didn't just get lucky here, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mahomes is the ultimate example. But here's where I'm going with this. Couldn't I argue that come draft time, if John Dorsey is nudging Brad Holmes a week before the draft, certainly in the war room, and says, look, I think Kenny Pickett is going to be the next Mahomes or going to be the next Rodgers,
Josh Allen,
whatever.
probably,
Take your pick. Yeah, take your comp pick. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Is going to be a star. Shouldn't Brad Holmes and us as fans give some benefit of the doubt, more so than we would if John Dorsey weren't there? Because when you nail that, when the whole world, minus a few people here or there, are mocking you and laughing you and grilling you for 20 minutes, your own media corps, and you produce one of the 5 best quarterbacks ever, arguably, that is a guy where if he tells me Kenny Pickett, and we'll never know if it's him or Holmes, but if John Dorsey pulls me aside at the bar and says, hey, we're taking Pickett tomorrow, he's going to be a star, I'm cool with it.
I'm cool with it even if Dorsey's not there.
Then I'm not cool with it.
I'll tell you why. Look, man, he's the GM. You're in that role to make those tough decisions.
I am fine.
In theory, right?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Not a fan of reaching for a quarterback right now, but in theory and in common practice, if my leader makes that decision, he gets the benefit of the doubt. And you know what happens if it doesn't work out, Justin? He's gone. Simple. Cutthroat league. You don't win in the NFL and you don't draft correctly, you're done. You're out.
You're right, but I'm tired of that. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, well, it didn't work out, but he's gone anyway, because I don't feel any better about Okudah because Patricia's, making popcorn.
I know, but in the theory of practice, at that level of, that role in a franchise, your job is to nail the pick.
So you're good either way.
Yeah.
But are you at least 5% more good because Dorsey's a part of this process?
I'm not 5%. I'm like 30, 40% more comfortable and confident if it's a quarterback because of Dorsey. If it wasn't, look, internally I'd be telling you, I'd be sitting up here and saying, well, look, I'm questioning the hell out of this pick. Like, they got to get it right. And if they don't, they set the franchise back another 5 years and they're going to be out of a job.
And even if it's not that second overall pick, let's say
it's 27.
Well,
28,
27,
or
but
they trade up.
Let's say, yeah, exactly. It's pick 14 is up, and they like whoever is still out there. I mean, I take your pick, and they call up that team picking in the low teens and say like, hey, we'll give you 27 and the Rams pick next year or whatever. If a team already has a quarterback, they'll probably do that. That's worth sliding back on that. Was it Jimmy Johnson had the trade chart or whatever? I think that matches up like 15 spots, future first. Lions might lose a little bit. With the right quarterback, who gives a shit?
Exactly.
Right? I think that this whole they're going to sit back and take, Sam Howell's Kuiper's projection at 27 or 28, and everyone's so mad about that.
If they believe in a quarterback, no way in hell they draft him at 27, 28. They move up heaven and earth to get him.
That's where I was going. Yeah. I think they'll trade up for one.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I wouldn't say there's no way. I could see them parking their ass at pick 27 or 28 and taking
hell of a risk.
But I agree.
They better know something that nobody else knows in the league, if that's the case. Because you're betting on those 26, 27 teams not seeing what you see.
Yes. And as the ultimate critic of the Lions, maybe you kind of share the crown with me.
Yeah.
Even I am saying if they take a quarterback, whatever, even second overall, which I do not agree with. I don't think they should. I agree with the masses here. Mm-hmm. I think it's probably best that they wait. But this group, I like Brad Holmes. Mm-hmm. What have we seen? I think he's a smart guy.
Talent evaluator.
Yes. And Dorsey there, if Dorsey's in that room and he's telling Brad Holmes, like, look, you really like, I don't know, was it Malik Willis or whatever?
Malik Willis, yeah.
Malik Willis from Liberty.
Yeah, then I would be really uncomfortable, but that's
I just threw him out there. Take whoever it is. Like, if he is pushing for a guy, I'm sorry, I'm going to put a lot of stock into that. And if he's telling me a guy's no good, I'm going to put a lot of stock into that. I like John Dorsey. I don't care that he wasn't nice to the receptionist in the office.
Here's the problem with whatever happens, even if it is a quarterback, walking into that Kansas City Chiefs team versus this Detroit Lions team, totally different. Andy Reid's the head coach. Dan Campbell's the head coach. The roster, I would argue B-plus roster at the time. This roster, what, C-minus? D-plus? It's not the most talented roster. Great offensive line. That's it.
Mahomes would be good anywhere, though.
Yeah, in theory, but Stafford was really good. Now, he's not Mahomes good, but he's a tier 2 quarterback if that's the definition you want to give him. And he couldn't get it, and he couldn't overcome it. And he went to the playoffs 3 times in his first technically 5 seasons.
Well, now we're back into you have to look at Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. I agree with all that, but just in terms of in a vacuum player evaluation, I actually will be.
I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Normally I'm not, because they have blown the benefit of the doubt. But I think that war room, that draft war room, aside from the knitting circle they have sitting front and center usually, I think that they got some smart people there for the first time like ever in my lifetime. I mean, where they have multiple, you could say,
I think Mayhew at the look, I'm not saying that war room was full of studs, but, Mayhew had some competent choices, some competent decisions, but, I mean.
Well, and I think Bob Quinn had some hits, too, but I was getting at is there's multiple smart people.
Yes.
I can't remember them having 2 guys that I think are pretty damn smart.
That could be a GM anywhere in the NFL right now. Yeah.
Yep, and they have 2. So I don't know. I just that's kind of I was curious. You agree? You're willing to give it?
I think that's
chance.
the philosophy of football. Get the quarterback right, everything becomes easier.
So let's transition to Dan Campbell a little bit. I know we touched on it, and we can eschew the offensive coordinator thing because we hit it already. Just your general view on year one. I was extremely skeptical. I think you were by all accounts.
Yeah.
Do you feel like were you pleasantly surprised, disappointed, exactly what you expected? Where do you land on that?
I have a difficult job, right? So every day I have to sit up there and think of what am I discussing today? What am I seeing? What's new? And with Dan Campbell early on, it was a bad roster, but I had to deal with people telling me they would win 10 games at my own network.
Don't get me
But
started.
beyond that, I stayed the course, and I knew this was a 2-3 win football team. And I jokingly named my fantasy football teams this year Lions 0-17 because I thought they could lose every game. And damn it, they were looking like they were going to do it. And again, I think year one, he impressed me with the Anthony Lynn situation. That's it. He didn't blow me away with his schematics. He didn't out-coach anybody. Well, he ran the ball 46 times against the Steelers in cold weather. Wow, I didn't know. Bad weather, you have running backs and a good old line. Kind of what you do. I mean, there's nothing spectacular about him, but there could be something amazing and spectacular about him. But you don't know yet. Year one, they built the culture, whatever all these words. Great. I did this like 5-word game on the morning show. It was like year one, they took care of business. I did it the week 2-3 weeks ago, the first time we did it. I put year one, good for culture. And then the second time we did the 5-word game, I had it, year one is over, now win. It's time to win.
You think it's time already? I'm more of a year 3 guy.
You're more of a year 3 guy for the division. I'm more of a you better win 6, 7, 8 games.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm not accepting
like
3 wins.
Record.
Yeah, I'm not winning. I'm not accepting 3 wins next year with that schedule.
100%.
And I could make the legitimate argument, again, pending free agency, draft class, what they do. Even with Jared Goff at quarterback, that's a 7-8 win football team. Could be 9. The schedule, you got the NFC and AFC East. Giants, who knows what they look like year one, potentially under Dabble. You play the Washington football team, who may be the Washington Commanders, I don't even know at this point. They don't have a quarterback. You play the Miami Dolphins, who just fired Brian Flores. Good luck. I wonder who's going to want to come there, where if you have 2 winning seasons back-to-back, you get fired because you disagree with the GM. All right, cool. And then you play the Patriots, who have Mac Jones. Look, they struggled down the stretch. Teams started to figure out how to get this kid uncomfortable. And then, of course, you have the Jets, who, are they going to surprise anybody this year? Robert Saleh going to win 10 games? Probably not.
No.
So they have an opportunity. They have an opportunity. And this is coming from me. Which means I put a lot of thought into this. They could win 7, 8, 9 games, and I would not be surprised. Given that offensive line, the way they play football, controlling the clock, Aaron Glenn, I think, is an outstanding defensive coordinator. And I think with more skilled position players in the secondary and on the front defensive front, they'll turn a top 18, top 19 defense next year. I think so. I think it's doable.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Just being like middle of the pack from where they've come from the past
32, 31. I mean, yeah, it's a huge difference. And I think the way they will play football can translate. And I always said, I didn't feel good about the Minnesota win. That meant nothing to me. When they beat Arizona, I saw a game plan. I saw 2-3 years from now, Justin. Oh, okay, that's like Cleveland Browns. I saw that. I've seen that before. Kyle Shanahan a little bit, not as creative, but okay. I've seen that game plan, that model, evolve into wins. Minnesota throwing it in the end zone last second. The Minnesota Vikings gave you that game. That's not winning football, and that's why I didn't like Jim Caldwell. What was the game plan? What were the Lions under Jim Caldwell? I still don't know to this day.
Jim, there are some similarities between Caldwell and Campbell. There's a lot of similarities too. There's a lot of differences too. But they both have that where they're going to get the most out of their teams because, in terms of effort, because the players would go through a wall for them because the players love them. And we saw a little bit of that in an objective metric. Not saying it's the be-all, end-all. But I tweeted this out the other day, and Ben will throw it up there. The Detroit Lions, in terms of just against the spread, were the third best team in football. By the way, I can't believe Dallas led the league. Dallas is usually at the bottom of this because people bet them and overvalue them because they like Dallas. But I digress. Against the spread, if you're gambling in Vegas, the Detroit Lions were 11-6. Now, it's a fun way of saying 11 out of 17 times they outperformed sort of the public expectation of them. But again, not the be-all, end-all, but I do think in this case, that's actually kind of relevant. The Lions really did only get hammered, 3 or 4 times? Which is
I would say 5, 6 times, really, but it doesn't matter.
Did they get blown out 5 or 6 times?
I mean, opening day, their first game of the year was really bad.
There were a lot of games where going in, you thought they were going to get destroyed.
The
they
Ravens,
won
Packers,
yep. Yeah, and it's like they hung in there. And look, if that's year 3 and that's what you're saying, that's a disaster. But given how bad, it reminds me similar, honestly, to the Pistons last year, where it's like this team stinks. And they'd be down like 4
in the fourth quarter.
Golden State in the fourth quarter. It's like, what the fuck's going on? And it was great because they'd lose and got the pick. But there's something to be said for that. I think that Dan Campbell has as long of a runway as you can possibly have in the locker room, without winning, basically. Like, typically, if you're an asshole and you lose, Matt Patricia,
you're out quicker.
You lost the team. He had lost the team already. The fact that he lost the team in year 1, if you believe, there's a great article. There's a female
He
reporter.
lost the team game 1. I could make the argument.
In training camp before year 1, according to the
Addressing
article.
The
I
players,
wish I could credit her. I can't remember her name. It was a great article.
I read this article. I do not know her name, but some of the things that were happening before the preseason. I mean, you don't talk to people like that, let alone guys you're sending out there to put their bodies basically on the line.
Yeah, professionals.
Like, come on, these are professionals. They get paid more than you. Show a little bit of respect. But again,
shitting on Darius Slay and
like calling him. Oh my goodness, calling him out. It's ridiculous.
But Campbell doesn't have that problem because Campbell can lose like you did this year. I'm sorry, he was not like he was a loser, but the team, the effort was
a losing team.
It was a losing team by a lot, by a long shot. But I don't think they lost the locker room one iota because of his character and how he runs things. So he has a longer runway, but it's not indefinite.
Is that a good thing though? In theory, because the coach is so nice and the players like him that he can be
I don't.
I
think it's secondary to actually being competent, which I don't think he's a competent head coach. Everybody's loves the guy because he's fun, and they have
good for media, good for quotes.
3 wins. Did they go 3-3 or
3-13-1?
No. I mean, at the end though, didn't they win 3 of their last 6 or 3 of their last 7?
Yeah, and Jared Goff was 3-1 in his last 4 starts.
Yeah, so it got a little cute at the end. Like I get it. I get the energy. I don't think there's any carryover effect. Kind of what I'm getting at is like he can last longer but he has to start winning or forget the fans. He's going to lose the team.
Year one over, win now.
When is the point? Because this whole he signed 6 years. That doesn't matter. If he stinks, they'll get rid of him.
In year 3.
It's the Fords. They'll always give him 1 year too many. But if he stinks in year 3, he'll be gone before year 6.
Yeah.
That's just the reality. What's sort of the timeline? You said next year you want to see 6-7 wins.
Yeah.
We're all here to win divisions and get to the
Of
playoffs
course.
and win. We all mean you and I. Some
Yep.
people have lower
Some people,
standards.
no.
What's the point for you where it's look, you haven't won a division, you haven't won a playoff game or whatever? Because I don't care if they finish in the wild card and win 2 playoff games and go to the NFC title game. That's fine too. I don't get fuck the division.
Yeah.
Not to bring up that old Sam, and you guys had that argument. But
Yeah, I think it's a ridiculous argument.
some version either way.
Yeah.
Either win the division or 2 playoff game, whatever.
Yeah, nobody's mad that the Eagles are in the wild card.
No. But what's the breaking point for Adham Beydoun? Where you're this is not going to work out.
It's on the field product.
No, but what
I can
year?
look past.
What year do you
matters-
need to see those boxes checked or one of the 2 boxes?
Oh, but year 3.
Really?
Year 3, you're not anywhere near the division or anywhere near a wild card run. Oh, good
You're
luck.
done.
Yeah, I made the comparison. Dan Campbell must be Jim Schwartz. They overtook a very toxic environment, losing culture. Come in, don't win many games year 1, but everyone's feeling upbeat. Matthew Stafford, Cleveland Browns, we all remember that game. Year 2, Stafford gets hurt. All right, whatever. You can let it go. Next year, Goff stinks it up. I am willing to give Dan Campbell year 3. But by November of next season, I'm going to have a really good idea, and I may be 90% right on whatever I decide on Dan Campbell.
I'm already by year 2. I think we're on the same page here. 6-7 wins, that's fine, but especially with the schedule as you laid out.
Mhm.
But the whole, they only got blown out 4 or 5 times. I thought it was only 3 or 4. You said 5 or 6 or something, whatever you said. That's cute now.
It's not cute when there's expectation.
Year 2, that's already gone.
Yep.
Even really good teams sometimes have clunkers that get blown out. Even the Patriots had a couple games where they got rolled.
It's
the
okay.
Lions rolled them.
I don't expect to win every game.
But I don't mean just not win. I mean
Yeah.
get embarrassed. I'm cool if they get hammered twice. But if they get blown out 4, 5, 6 times, even next year,
That's going to be tough to swallow.
I'm already out. It's even more about that. 'Cause
What's
if
the
they're-
trend in the NFL? The 4th place team goes and wins the division next year. Isn't that the oldest saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the NFL. You can go find a guy that can turn into a Pro Bowl corner off the streets if he's good enough. The talent, there's an abundance of talent. We've just had a hard time getting it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Forever.
Forever. And in
ever.
coaching. And again, you guys what's Dan Campbell? I don't know right now. I really don't. It's not fair for me to say, well, he'll never work out. I'm not that naive. I'm willing to watch it unfold. But I know by Thanksgiving next season, I'll have a really damn good idea of this guy if he's going to win a division.
And if he ends up winning 2 games next year and you say bad things, you're going to get called a hater and a bad
I know.
guy.
Believe me. These last 4 months, I've developed extremely thick skin.
Yeah.
I've been called the book. There's some great creative names, by the way, people call me. It's actually fascinating. Dollar General Valeni.
We'll get to that.
That's one of my
actually.
favorite ones.
The Valeni thing's coming up in the speed.
Oh, is
round.
it? Oh,
Spoiler
God.
alert on that one. But, I think this is where they land. I think they have to be – they can even be bad next year and –
Show me progress on the field.
Yeah.
Offense was anemic, 8 games, 9 games in. You turned it around. Thank you. I saw progress.
Even if they win 5 games and only get blown out twice instead of 5 times, the arrow's pointing up.
Yes.
But year 3, the whole as long as you're going in the right direction shit.
Is
yeah,
it?
it would be.
Because Jared Goff is the quarterback. And what if he stinks next year? Then what? I'm supposed to give Dan Campbell 2 more years, technically, because they got to draft a quarterback if they don't do it now. And I have to be fair. My job is to be fair. Tell you when I'm right, tell you when I'm wrong. That's my job. I also have to be fair. If Jared Goff sucks next year and they win 3-4 games, unless I am so confident and the next guy I'm bringing in, is it really far-fetched for me to say Dan Campbell gets year 4? I don't think it is. I don't. Now, if you're telling me if I'm running the team and I draft my quarterback and he's not playing well rookie year under Dan Campbell, hell yeah, I'm getting him out of town. And I'm bringing in the offensive-minded guy. But, again, I don't know what Dan Campbell will be by year 3. So it's tough to have that conversation.
Yeah, we're in a weird spot. We all know he's no danger anytime soon, but I think we land on the same page here. Like year 3, I need to see
I need to see a wild card run at least.
Yeah, because the playoffs expanded. It's like it's even easier, and they're talking about expand even more now.
9 wins. 9 wins got you into the playoffs this year. If they expanded, 8 would have gotten you in.
And Rodgers is going to be gone. Green Bay might be in a rebuild. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, people always tell me that Matt LaFraud and all this stuff. People are hilarious.
I don't get that.
Green Bay will get it figured out sooner than later, even if it isn't Jordan Love. Matt LaFleur can coach. Go find me your head coach in your lifetime that took you to 2 NFC title games in a row. First coach in NFL history to win 39 games in his first 3 years, just in the regular season.
Remember when you and I got mocked like 2 months ago for saying Shanahan was good?
I can't believe we have a conversation about this. People are dumb. That's like just what I've accepted in life.
It's like, oh, like they're 5-6 or whatever, 5-4, whatever they were. They were kind of like middling in the middle of the year. And people are shitting on this guy like
before the season started. It was, I think, our second or third show, August 14 or 15. Quote me on it. We were giving our early Super Bowl predictions. And I sat there and I deliberated. And spoiler alert, I had the Rams and Bills. But I really wanted to pick the 49ers. And for a good 2 minutes on the show, I went back and forth between the Rams and the Niners. It's not a shock to me that what they're doing now. They very well could go into Lambeau and win. Wouldn't surprise me. That's how much I think of Kyle Shanahan. But if you ask the idiots in your chat or my chat,
don't put
here
it
it
on
comes.
me. That's
Well, definitely my chat. So the idiots in my chat, here we go. Oh, well, he has a losing record.
Well, look at the show you took over. You took over a show that was, rah-rah Lions, and we're doing selfie videos celebrating in our car because they won their 5th game. I mean, it's the audience in general, not just yours, loves everything, pro rah-rah Lions. And it's funny because they'll shit on other teams' much better coaches.
Yep.
So they'll go through a wall for Dan Campbell.
They'll tell me Matt LaFleur's an awful coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But Jim Caldwell deserves another job, my ass.
They'll mock LaFleur, they'll mock Shanahan, but Jim Caldwell was great, and they absolutely love
Jim
Campbell.
Caldwell was great. How we throw that word out is so irresponsible.
He's the best coach in history.
What does that mean?
For the Lions, not much.
It's going to bring us back to the Stafford argument. Here we go. In the context of the Lions, he's successful now. You can't talk about him.
Yeah.
That's it. We're done.
Yeah.
Now, you want to tell me he's Aaron Rodgers, or you want to tell me, Adam, I don't believe he's Aaron Rodgers. I don't believe it's Tom Brady. He's got to beat Tom Brady on the road to prove to me something. No, he doesn't actually. He doesn't. He could lose this weekend, even though I have a lot of money on him. He could lose this weekend, and I have no issue with it. He's already done what you said he couldn't do.
Yeah, it's over.
It's done.
And by the way, we talked about it on your show, and I called in. Was it this? Yeah, this week.
Yep, this week.
Obviously, it was this week. Yeah, like it's over. We won. It's like the whole can Stafford win the division in a playoff game if he gets out of here?
It's done.
It's resolved. But do you think they have? Obviously, they have a chance any given Sunday. All that shit. Do you think they have like a real good chance to win in Tampa? Because I think people are counting them out.
Oh, really? Maybe I'm naive. I don't watch enough. I feel really good about him.
I do too. Tampa's a
Tristan
rightful favorite.
Wirfs has a major injury. He will play through it. Leonard Fournette, am I getting 40, 50, 60%? I don't know. Ronald Jones, same thing. What's Tom Brady going to have to do against Von Miller, Aaron Donald, and Lloyd?
Is
or
Wirfs
Floyd,
definitely
excuse me.
playing?
Definitely going to play.
That injury looks bad.
It is bad. He's going to play. But does he last the quarter? I don't know.
What percent is
he
at?
I mean, at this level, he's going to go out there for his team. But I think where I'm at right now is Brady's going to have to get the ball out like that. No Antonio Brown, no Chris Godwin. Mike Evans.
People forget Brady's lost a ton of playoff games.
Yeah.
He's also been in a lot, but he's not invincible.
No, he's not. And which coach do you trust more, Sean McVay or Bruce Arians?
Oh, McVay.
McVay.
Yeah.
But which quarterback do I trust more? Obviously Brady. It's not even a question. And that's the wild card in all this. What am I getting out of Stafford? Am I getting Arizona plus some? I think they win. Am I getting the last 4 weeks down the stretch where he just couldn't stop turning the ball over? It's concerning. But who's to say Brady scores more than 17 points against the Rams on Sunday? Is it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock game. Who's to say they score more than 17, 20 points? Not far-fetched. I got the Rams.
I think Stafford, regardless of what happens with the game, They could lose 41-38. I think Stafford's going to have a very good game. I think he's dialed in. I think his biggest knock over the years is he can be kind of like a, what the hell are you doing? This is why he's here. He's not going to be drifting or losing.
He's not going to shrink in the moment.
He is dialed the fuck in right now. This is everything that he wanted to do was get there, be on a team that has a chance. I'm a believer. I always have been. I've been saying it for years.
Ask yourselves this simple question. Do you think Sean McVay is going to send Stafford out there to look like an idiot? Hell no. They're going to run the ball extremely well. Van Jefferson's going to run a ton of underneath routes. Good luck covering Odell Beckham. He has the highest grade of any player or wide receiver, I should say, in the playoffs right now. Oh, they have Cooper Kupp, by the way, who's probably a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
So good luck. Like, the Rams are a problem.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I think they have as good a chance as anybody to win the whole goddamn thing, and I've been saying it since Stafford got there. I mean,
I know you're a big fan of the herd.
Yes.
And I was listening to Colin, and he brought up a very good point. What you saw against Arizona, the Rams really hadn't done all year. But isn't that what they thought they would be pre-Cam Akers injury?
Yeah.
And like what I saw on Monday with the Rams and Cardinals, oh man, it's a scary team. That team wins 15 games in the regular season. Good luck stopping that. Matthew Stafford doesn't only have to throw the ball 17 times. Oh, music to my ears. For any quarterback. Rams are peaking at the right time.
The fact that Akers is even back is incredible.
That's a whole different
back
thing.
And playing really well. It's like, what the hell did he do?
It took me a year to recover from my ACL injury. Dude tears his Achilles, which is worse.
Kalen Lucas came back from his in 2011, and it was like 12 months, and everyone was like,
oh wow, that was amazing.
Yeah, it's like, this guy came back in what, like 9 or something?
7.
Or 7?
7 months.
It's ridiculous. It had to have been like the most minor.
Well, there is a new surgery where it's more evasive, it's not as damaging, and you recover a lot quicker, and the ligament is stronger.
Apparently.
So
I might tear mine just to try it out. I mean, just come back stronger than ever, like Superman over here. So we'll get to the speed on in 1 second. The last thing, it's not a Lions topic, but it could become one. Again, I'm so bad with credit today. It's not deliberate. I can't remember. Someone had a tweet. It was a reporter, not a random guy, saying that it was a link to an article saying that Sam Howell, his prediction, this reporter's prediction was that Sam Howell, quarterback from my second school, North Carolina, is going to put out incredible pro day numbers, pro day performance. He's going to be great at the combine and all that because he's such an impressive raw talent. His tape sucked this year. Everybody knows that De'Ami Brown left. He lost his top 3
Javonte
receivers.
Williams.
Yes, Javonte Williams. If you have a guy like Sam Howell, who was on any recruiting board, either
number one basically going into the year.
Yeah, number one quarterback to everyone. But I mean, number one, like in the whole country at any position on some list, 2 or 3 at worst. Looked like a stud for his first, certainly for a true freshman, but his first 2 years in North Carolina looked great. Had no offensive weapons the next year and struggled for sure. Do you think if the Lions take Sam Howell, who I know you don't like, but is it indefensible?
I did text you before the season started.
I know you did.
But it was because of the team, too. So maybe I was a bit hard on him.
If they're picking pick 32, and I know you said, they have to trade up, but if they take a guy who was the number 1 quarterback in the country.
I'm happy.
And like had 2 really good years, lost his entire roster and struggled. And by the way, a little bit overstated on how bad he was. People were acting like
he wasn't awful. And just go watch the Wake Forest game.
He could play.
Go watch the Wake Forest game. You'll fall in love with Sam Howell.
A little small, a little short, but I admit I'm a Tar Heel guy. Like I'm biased. It's my master's, not undergrad like Michigan State. But I actually think, look, if you pick him top 10, like I'm out. Like I don't.
Yeah.
It's that tape.
Well, honestly, no. In theory, given the conversation we had, if they trade up and that's their guy, that's their guy. I'm all in, just like they are.
Fair.
Even if I disagree with it.
Fair. I'm not as in. But like if they're sitting there 28, 32, wherever that.
I think it's a steal.
Yeah. It's just the guy you're getting for the pedigree. It's
given what his trajectory was.
Yeah. We're gonna sell the guy completely out. The guy, number 1 quarterback in the country.
Big factor in all this. Who is coaching at the Senior Bowl?
The Lions.
Who is Sam Howell playing for in Senior Bowl?
Is he playing in the Senior Bowl?
Oh, excuse me, not in the Senior Bowl. Who is? God dang it! Off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember the player.
Some exhibition game. What do you think?
No.
Oh, you're
I
talking
could
about a
have
different
sworn.
quarterback in the Senior Bowl?
Yes, excuse me, not Sam Howell. My goodness. I can't get him in my head now. There's like 4 quarterbacks that the Lions have. One of them, I'm trying to remember his name. Oh, my goodness, I'm drawing a blank.
Somebody projected in the first round?
Long story short, Scott Bischoff, draft scout, good guy, came on the network a few weeks and he's been tweeting this out. Lions are going to get comfortable and in front with this kid. No. Kenny Pickett.
You forgot Pickett? We just talked about Pickett.
Yeah, I told you I drew a blank.
Yes.
And they're going to get extremely comfortable with him.
Well, that's going to be
And they're
going to
see him up and close.
Because he's not going to. Everyone's like, oh, Pickett 14th overall.
No,
That's
hell he
not-
isn't.
That's not gonna
Nakobe
happen.
Dean, 28. All these people putting out their PFF mock drafts.
People are so stupid.
PFF is stupid.
It's a quarterback, first of all. I mean, you just named the linebacker, which it's true too. Like the good quarterbacks are relative good in the draft.
They're going in the top 10 minimum. 3 are going in the top 11, I could argue.
Even 12 or 13 maybe, but like they're not going in the 20s.
No.
Like
You'll
Howell,
find
you might even get in the
Desmond
20s.
Ritter maybe, Malik Willis in the 20s, but
Yeah,
that's not what I'm
right,
interested in.
Yeah,
So yeah, when it comes to Sam Howell, we'll go back. I'll get back on track. Sorry, Sam Howell. I'm not mad if they take him, even if they trade up. I'm not. Sorry. I asked this question so many times, and people get mad on my show because I always ask questions because I think it really. You got to think as an audience, as a fan. It doesn't matter who you are. You have to think. Have you seen Jared Goff's peak? I think I have. I'm pretty sold on what his peak is. And the last I checked, there's no Todd Gurley on this team. That offensive line could replicate it, but that defense is nowhere near what the Rams defense had. May I remind you, he threw 1 touchdown pass on the way to that Super Bowl, but it's not important. I've seen his peak, and that was with Sean McVay and Les Snead as GM. Do we have that in Detroit? Don't know. Definitely not true right now.
the head coach definitely not.
Definitely
GM
not the
might-
coach.
Who knows?
GM maybe. And you need all that to come together, and you need a bogus pass interference call in the NFC Championship game. Good luck.
Yeah, the all-time worst call
I've
ever.
seen the peak. I've seen the ceiling. With Sam Howell, I don't know what his ceiling is. He could be even higher, could be worse. I don't know. Give me the guy with the ceiling that's not been identified
I'm
yet.
glad you're with me on this. I feel better about myself because for a week there, I was like, they're ridiculous if they take a quarterback. But I'm thinking about it. I'm like, well, they got Dorsey. We kind of trust Holmes. I mean, I'm actually good with it. The Howell thing in particular. Again, I just like the idea of if you can get a guy in the 20s who was the number one guy in the country.
Mhm. I
had
think there's value there.
incredible value.
Mhm.
We're gonna eschew the high school pedigree in his first 2 years in college based on like a bad couple months.
And
Relatively bad,
what is
not even
every
bad,
coach's dream? The quarterback that stayed long enough in college.
Yeah.
Because they got more reps and they saw more coverages and they digest information much better. You don't want, look, I mean, there's always the anomalies of guys that come out after the second year, but I mean, they don't all work out. And look, I get 3 full seasons of Sam Howell, comes in year 1, gets to sit maybe under Goff. I'm not opposed to it. And if Goff stinks it up, there you go. Insert the rookie.
The other good
Can't
thing
get
with-
any worse.
The other good thing with Howell, aside from the talent, is incredible leader, incredible kid. Everybody loved him in Chapel Hill. Like there's no drama there.
Smart.
Smart guy.
Very smart.
So you don't have to worry about any of that. It's like that's all A plus.
John Dorsey literally just brought this up in that video you played.
Yeah.
Who can identify and digest plays? Who has a learning curve? Who's at the top of our board? Don't be surprised if Sam Howell reaches the top of the board for the Lions in all those categories.
If you give the A plus intangibles, the A plus smarts, the A plus leadership,
He's mobile.
can move, never been in trouble of any kind. That's all.
Never ran away from the cops.
Yeah, right, Baker. There's all that's an A plus.
Yep.
All that stuff you don't have to. There's no projection there. You can put that in stone. You can chisel it in the rock, and you already know the talent based on talent alone. He was 5-star super recruit,
Mm-hmm.
2 productive years on the field. Again, everything is pointing towards this guy being a good pick anywhere in the draft.
Yep.
Except a couple months, a couple bad games with no help, basically. I like the idea. I just want it on the record, on tape with the cameras on me. I really think he's going to be good. Whether he's a star, who knows? But I think he's going to be a starter. I think he could be like a Carson Palmer-ish, 1 or 2 Pro Bowls, like a good, viable quarterback you can win with. I think that's what he'll be wherever he lands.
Yeah, look, I'm not opposed to it. I'm really not.
Yeah, good. I'm
It's
glad.
not that crazy of an idea.
I'm on the record now. Sam Howell, or, again, we talked about quarterback. I trust these guys. Let's get to the speed round. I don't want to run too long. We'll get into it. I don't know how to explain this to you. You're a fan of the show. Let's just get right into it. Your biggest sports whiff. I put Darko up there. We all know Darko is mine. What was in your whole life, not just your career at WSN, the biggest one?
I'll give two.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you go ahead.
So at WSN, obviously, I haven't whiffed yet. So it's kind of annoying. I've only been in the industry for 5 months.
You're too dialed in.
I'm too dialed in. I'm too good. But I will say, I did not think Penei could transition at right tackle midseason, go back vice versa, play left tackle, then go right. But he did. I'm very happy I was wrong on that. But I think the biggest whiff I had was, man, I actually thought for a moment in time that not only Darko would work out, but I was too young for me to even credit myself with being wrong on Darko. But once I became a teenager-ish, Stanley Johnson.
That was a popular one.
Stanley Johnson, and again, like I was still in my teens, but Stanley Johnson was. I looked at it, I was like, oh man, this guy can play defense. He could get to the hoop if he develops a jump shot. Super excited. Hell no. My goodness, was that wrong?
He was talking shit to LeBron in his rookie year in that
Oh my
playoff
God.
series.
And we were excited about it. And it was like, oh man.
That was my first, oh shit. No, it's great if he actually goes and locks him up.
Yeah.
That
35 and 10 and 14.
Oh, he dominated us. And it's just
that was the time where Detroit was basically in turmoil. Everybody wanted to keep that horrible roster, make the 8th seed and get swept in the first round. And I was obviously in the minority of blow the whole damn thing up. What do you have to lose?
The same people that like that shit are the same people that film themselves celebrating the lotto balls. And yeah, we got Cade Cunningham. It's do you not understand that you were rooting against that moment of pure joy for the last 8 years?
Yep.
I don't understand people that don't understand the connection there. It's why are you celebrating sneaking in as the 8th seed as a 40
and getting
42
swept?
team?
You're not even sneaking in as an 8th seed when you're developing your roster and you're learning how to play playoff basketball and you're learning how to win. That makes sense. The hell you were going anywhere with Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond. Oh my God. Reggie Jackson.
That's a great point too. If it's on the ascent, arrow pointing upwards.
If in 3 years
25
Pistons get swept in the first round, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, and whoever the hell that team looks like in 3 years, as a number 6, 7, or 8 seed, I'm not going to tell you blow up the team.
I don't know about both the team, but 3 years from now, that's pretty bad.
Maybe it's too
I'm
much.
talking I want to see them. 2 years.
2 years. Okay,
Yeah.
let's say 2 years.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
2 years more realistic.
Yeah.
You're getting Sadiq in his 4th year. Cade will go into his 3rd year, starting to enter his prime. Hopefully, he's a superstar by then.
You'll have Poncheros on the team by then. And
I know you're high on him.
yeah. Well,
That's your pick.
I think the Pistons are lucky in this regard. If they get that top 3 pick, the top 3 prospects, by all accounts, are bigs. They're all 6'10".
So they're walking away with a core need on the team.
Yes.
No matter who it is.
The needs match with they're aligned with the best player available.
I think the most
presumably.
recent report was they would take Jabari Smith if they had the number 1 overall pick.
I'd be fine with Jabari Smith.
Mhm.
Holmgren, everyone's shitting on Holmgren because he's 76 pounds.
Jesus, Kevin Durant. Just all of you shut up and learn from history. I did a segment on that too. I had to walk through history and life and all this stuff. It's a long story, but learn from your past and you will be successful in your future.
There you
History
go.
repeats itself.
Holmgren can do basically everything except look big.
I don't need him to look big.
Me neither.
I need him to shoot 40% if he can. No, it's kind of amazing. But let's say 37, 38% from the three-point line. I need him to get me 17, 19, 21 points. I don't need him to get 18 rebounds. It's not in my interest.
Holmgren's basement to me is 20, 10, and 2.5 blocks.
That's a
not
hell of a
like
basement.
a superstar, but like a second-tier star.
No,
Now
all-star.
Yeah, all-star.
For sure.
I think, barring injuries, that's always out there. But that's to me is his basement. He's not going to bust. He's too big. He's too athletic. He works his ass off. He's got the biggest motor. He was running circles around Amani Bates in high school. It's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like that they really need a talented big, and there's going to be 3 or 4 available. They don't need. I love the first overall pick. They don't need it. They could get the 3rd pick, fourth pick maybe. and be fine. But anyway, moving on. Your best sort of get into the yang of the previous one. Your best contrarian vindication. I put Chris Leak up there because I famously predict Florida to win outright as an almost 2-touchdown underdog to Ohio State.
I've had multiple. You should know.
I know you have. I like that 4-1 for me because you weren't in my group, but it was like 20-1. I was ridiculed. You're just saying that. I said, no, man, I was on the SEC train before anyone. Like, that was mine. Is there one that sticks out to you where it's like everybody was like,
I've had 3 in the last 12 months.
Name them all.
We'll start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Started off the season 10-0.
Yeah.
Famously lost, 6 of their last 7 games, 5 of their last 6. Phenomenal. I told everybody they were not the team you think they are. Of course, Monday night comes up. They lose to the Bills. The rest is history. But that was my first taste of real vindication. That
I can vouch for that one, too.
We talk about it to this day. I said Michigan would win the Big Ten championship even after they lost to MSU. And I tried to articulate this to all those Michigan fans. Like, chill out. Your whole schedule's ahead of you. You win out. If you don't win the Big Ten championship because Michigan State wins out, you have the best loss in the country. You will make the college football playoff as the number 4 team.
Yeah.
It was still in front of them. So being right about that, I mean, calling Michigan and Michigan State to start the season 7-0, that was fun. I've had some fun ones. I've had some fun ones.
Yeah, this is why you're in the big chair, man.
Cardinals, when they were 10-2, I said they would lose almost every game for the rest of the season.
I missed that one. All the other ones I can vouch for, but I'm sure.
I've had fun. I mean, I'm in front of a mic every day, obviously, so I'm going to be wrong a lot of the times too. It's just part of the game, I guess. You can't be always right. But yeah, those are some of the ones, at least since in my semi-professional career.
You're really strong with discernment, which is big. Any asshole can check the standings and say that team's good or that team's bad if they go down the list.
Oh, I'm willing to put my neck out there because if I ever tell you that there's an 11-win football team 13 games into the year, they're bad, I've spent 13 weeks figuring that out. That is not, I just don't like the Steelers. They'll collapse. No. They lost in the first round to the Browns. At home
to the Browns, but at least you got all your roses from everyone.
I mean,
you got full credit.
I did not.
Like
I lost my mind that week.
I've had your back from day one on that one. So we touched on this a little bit earlier, and I said we'd get to it.
Oh yeah,
the faux Mike Valenti label. This is something you and I have shared. Although I think you've mostly taken the mantle from me, so thank you for that. I appreciate it. Like, anytime you say anything bad about any of the Detroit teams, it can be as objectively true as imaginable. It's typically the Lions. There's always somebody in the chat and Twitter replies, whatever, saying, oh, you're trying to be Mike Valenti. I dealt with it for years. You've dealt with it to a level I never even saw. Does it frustrate you to see that at all? Is it just like a shut the hell up?
I'll tell you what. First week doing the show, August 12th, first ever full-time show. That whole week, mauled with DMs. Want to be Mike Valenti, Dollar General of Mike Valenti. It's the first week. It did get to me a little bit. I was like, what the hell? First of all, I'm not. My show's at 8 a.m. His is at 2?
Yep.
I can't even hear what he's gonna say for my show. Like, everything I'm saying is because I am thinking this way. Number one, so just to get that out, and then of course, I had a really long conversation with my wife, and she's usually the person I have these kind of conversations with. I'm like, all right, I am going to close my ears, and they can call me what the hell they want. I haven't been wrong yet. So till I'm wrong, they can all shut the hell up.
Well, even if you are wrong, who cares?
Oh, yeah, but I think in the terms of, I'm going to say what I think. And if you want to tell me that that's an opinion of Valenti's, great. Me, Valenti, and even you most of the time share the same opinion. I am paid to give my opinion. And I'm going to give it, and it is frustrating at times because I think people do it to kind of discredit what you're trying to do, but they have no idea what goes into a 2-hour show. You're talking 6, 7, 8 hours a day just of prep. That doesn't include figuring out what you're actually going to talk about, let alone doing all the research after. I mean, it's much more, all of this that even we do here. There's so much more involved, where in the beginning, the essential, basically the whole start of this, I did get frustrated. And then I just put my head down, and now I laugh at the comments now. I like some of them. I'll send a handshake emoji. Some people will tell me you Mike Valenti want to be kiss my ass, and I'll tell you yeah, sure, when and where. Like I have fun with it now. I'm past the letting any social media comment get to me, and I think I'm so good at that because have never been on social media. I was never a social media guy. MySpace, Facebook, none of that. Like, there's no history of me on social media. I was never that guy. I was kind of antisocial. And here I am in front of a mic. It makes no sense.
Yeah, you're too good to be hidden any longer, which I said for months and months, but we won't go there. Look, I mean, here's the thing with that before we move on. Because I heard this like 5 years ago, too. I've heard maybe longer. Like, it did bother me a little bit at first. It was just annoying. Like, I wasn't crying in bed.
Yeah.
But, like, it was just like...
No, it's frustrating. Like, what the hell do you know?
But
you don't know me.
Here's the bigger takeaway, though. It's actually sort of an indictment on the media generally in this town without naming any names, because I think it's a general sort of commentary. But if you're up there saying, oh, I'm a Giants fan, screw them, or you're stealing exact phrases, or you're suddenly talking horse racing out of nowhere, maybe like the faux Mike Valenti stuff makes sense.
Oh, that would make sense.
We've both heard it by like, oh, what the Lions are doing is malfeasance. This is irresponsible. How do you let them take Jeff Okudah? Something that I said before Mike Valenti even talked about it. And because I listen to Valenti. It's like when I was saying that, I was getting it. It's like, it's interesting that any criticism of the
You're
teams,
associated with him.
he's the only one.
But it's a credit to him. He is the best in the business in this town.
Yes.
No question about it.
And they know
I am
it too.
saying it.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Yeah.
And all of you should shut the hell up. Honestly, at this point, like it's funny to me because he knows what he's doing. He's damn good at it. And I can't give him anything but throw the what's the saying? Throw roses at somebody. Like, he's earned the right to say whatever he wants, and he's damn good at his job. He really is.
At some point, you have to say scoreboard. The guy's been like top of the ratings.
Come on,
for
yeah, like
100
even
years
and
now.
that's coming from me. Look, I'm at a digital media network, Woodward Sports. Obviously, you want to identify 97.1 as a competitor of ours, sure, but I'm not going to shit on him. He's really good at what he does. He's really good.
That's why you and I steal his act, right?
I mean, I guess that. Like, I take those comments as compliments because that means I'm doing something right.
I'm with you. Moving on. Can Michigan or Michigan State win the college football playoff? Now, I do not mean next year. I mean, let's call it a 10-year span because we've seen both get there and get absolutely destroyed. Do you think either team can viably
What's the window?
win it?
3, 5 years?
10 years.
Oh, 10 years?
Yeah.
Give me State.
Not even. So you think
Michigan
one of
State.
them can?
Well, I'm more confident in Michigan State.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
I think.
between who I'm more confident in, Michigan State, I think both can win it.
Okay.
I
good.
do think both can win it. Oh, man, there's something about Mel Tucker.
I
I
think
know
we
I'm probably
started
cheesing up to the wrong guy here, Mr. Michigan State himself.
Well,
But,
I do have him on my wall three times.
I was called a Spartan all year because of the takes I had on Michigan State. People thought I was a Sparty. It was the funniest thing ever.
I got called him
I didn't
a MAGA
graduate.
hat-wearing Trump guy.
I didn't
People
even
are
graduate college.
Yeah.
Like, it's the funniest thing. It really is. And I went to Henry Ford, then U of M Dearborn. So if anything, I'm more of a Michigan guy.
Yeah.
And my household is literally Michigan people. But anyways, like, I try to keep any bias out of my sports takes. And that's why I was so right on Michigan State. Because if I was a true Michigan man, the horse shit that would come out of my mouth, I would be wrong 70% of the time talking about Michigan State. But all year I was spot on them. I had them undefeated going into the game. I predicted them to win that game. And of course, I expected them to fall off at the end. I just didn't think they were that great. But they had enough, and I was pleasantly surprised. But Mel Tucker's a hell of a recruiter. You should know firsthand the people he's going to be able to pull, especially from the South. Hell, I got a lot of stuff on social media. I argued Michigan State fans should root for Michigan against Georgia. I did. That was one of my big things. Those hot takes. Look, hear me out. In the grand scheme of things, Kirby Smart finally got it done, right? Georgia's going to be good for the next 10 years. That's done and dusted. They're going to be phenomenal. Alabama going to be phenomenal. Louisiana, phenomenal. Always going to be. They're in the South. But Mel Tucker's ties in the South, nobody in Ann Arbor has that.
Even out west. The
Even
two
out
guys
west.
that were sitting in the chair before you, the last episode we did, Kane Hauser and Jeremy Bernard, high 4 stars. There's 4 stars, but top 4-star guys, Nevada and California.
Yep.
D'Antonio wasn't getting those guys. I mean,
No.
occasionally every
And that's
30
what I'm
years,
looking at. And what I see is tremendous upside. And Mel Tucker, what D'Antonio talk about all the time?
Ohio.
I didn't push enough.
Oh, yeah.
Once we reached that pinnacle of, quote unquote success to get where Mel Tucker's at right now. We never invested. Oh, I'm all in on this Michigan State project.
I like him a lot, especially now they've doubled down on Tucker's salary, and I love everything they're doing up there. So we'll move on. Most overrated Detroit athlete in your lifetime? Someone you saw, and, if you can't think of the one, just think of a one. Someone that just people were all about, and you were kind of like, eh.
I guess Prince Fielder really comes to mind. Delivered in the regular season, not really the postseason, but overrated Lions player. I do have a Lions player that I always thought was extremely overrated. And Herman Moore.
Oh, so you're going back.
Yeah, I'm going back.
Yeah.
Never a fan.
He was great at that, like, 3rd and 6, or 3rd and goal from the 6, like toss it up. But
he was an all-pro player. He was good. Don't get me wrong. But the way we perceived Herman Moore, it's like 4 years in, Calvin was already beyond Herman Moore across the board. And we had this clinging of, no, Herman Moore's the best. I was like, you the hell?
Yeah.
Do you see what this thing is out on the football field?
Overrated does not mean bad. So
no, he's tremendous, all-pro. I mean, deserving of all the accolades he's gotten. Don't get me wrong. But the way he's perceived here, too much for me.
I'm with you. Okay, we'll go with that. Flip side of that, most underrated Detroit athlete in your lifetime. Someone we didn't appreciate enough.
Max Scherzer.
Really?
I don't think we appreciated him
He won a
enough.
Cy Young. I feel like he got his.
He got his nationally. I don't think we appreciated him.
Okay.
In the city. Maybe I'm totally off on that.
That's now that I'm thinking about it, he was like
he was quiet.
Huge distant second to Verlander in people's hearts and minds.
Yeah, Verlander was the guy, even though Scherzer clearly at the time was a more outstanding pitcher than Verlander.
For like a 2 or 3 year stretch there. When he first got here, he was so bad he
leaves and wins multiple Cy Youngs after. How badly did we botch that?
Well, we've talked about it on this show. Mike Ilitch got mad. I don't know if you remember how that went down. Basically, they asked Scherzer what he wanted. He gave the number, Scott Boras did. And Mike Ilitch came back and said, okay, like give us a couple days and we'll let you know. Came back and said, okay, it's a deal. Scherzer came back and said, actually, I need a little bit more. Mike Ilitch is a proud guy. This isn't even like my reporting, though I do have sourcing on this too. Mike Ilitch said it. And so Mike Ilitch had the money, could have done it, and just was so mad at the negotiation that he said, take a hike. Who won that one?
I'll give you another underrated player.
Yeah.
I'll give you 2 of them. Matthew Stafford. Underrated, underappreciated in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean,
especially after this season. Like the narrative is done, but man, we want to talk about not appreciating a guy that dragged you. 42 of his 70 wins were fourth quarter comebacks, I believe. Somewhere around that ballpark. Like, best quarterback we've obviously seen in our lifetimes in a Detroit Lions uniform. I'm trying to think of each one from one player from each team specifically.
How many games did he go into percentage-wise?
As an underdog? At least 80%.
Not even just underdog, where he had a schematic advantage on his sideline in his headset.
0.
Well, I'm sure there's some game where he was going against like
maybe there's 4 games in his lifetime.
Yeah, very few. I mean,
Jim Caldwell was never giving you a week-to-week advantage.
We'd have to break down the schedule, but they had to have been playing.
I'm sure they played a team that was like 2-12 or something. Yeah.
There had to have been some. Like Jim Caldwell's not like an all-time bad guy.
No,
like, don't go too far, but it's under 30%. Like he was
sure.
At least 3 out of 4 times he's at a decided disadvantage, like just schematically.
For sure,
the guy in his year versus the guy in his opponent's year. I'm with you. Yeah, I mean we laid out a lot of the reasons why. Last one, and we talked about this a little bit too. Just the hardest part of your role. Now, you were in your role at Woodward Sports Network. You were kind of a jack of all trades. You did appear on camera, but you were doing like IT stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, part of the executive team at Woodward Sports, leadership-wise, IT.
But what you're doing right now, like in the past, since you took over like 4 months ago, whatever, what's sort of the hardest part?
So as a talent in terms of doing the show and everything?
Whatever you're doing now, I don't know your whole purview now. I mean, I know you obviously retained the management component. I don't know if you're still doing IT stuff, but like...
Yeah, no, nothing's changed. My role really hasn't changed. It's a startup. You've got to get your hands involved in everything. So the hardest part of what I do is having to balance everything that I do and give everything an adequate amount of time and give the people I work with. Like, I am a leader at the company. I have to sit down with my employees. I have to hear them out. What do they want to do in their futures? How can I help them get there? What are skills that they want to learn? Like, talent development, team development, individuals, whatever it is. I mean, there's so many things that go on just as a leader at a company. And that doesn't even include the 10, 11 hours I put in daily on that morning show. I mean, I give it everything I got. And I think the kind of proof's in the pudding, not just ratings, views, but how often I'm quote unquote right. Like, that's just from prep. Like, I'm not some genius here. Just putting in a lot of hours, looking at a lot of data, and looking at recent history, long-term history. What has happened? How does it work out? Like, there's so much involved. It's a lot. Let's just put it that way.
It would be inappropriate to get into specific examples, so I'm not asking you to, hey, recall this time. But you have had to let some people go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that hard? Because that's
It's easier for me.
It's my least favorite part of what I do, like when we've had to, just as a company, let somebody go.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's I'm sitting with somebody or just, whomever.
I had to fire somebody. I'll just say Art Smith.
Yeah.
So we had to let go of Art Smith, and it was a very difficult decision for us at the time, and I was the one to do it. And I have a good personal relationship with Art. I have nothing against him. And I sit him down in the room, and he knew, he felt it. Like, the pressure was there. And I sat him down, and I spent about 15 minutes complimenting him and helping him, like, future endeavors, anything you need. I have connections, willing to help you. Like for me, getting rid of people, I think, is very easy when you're honest. When it's disingenuous, it's very difficult to fire people. And I'll have to get rid of people, who knows, in the next 6 months probably. Who knows? You never know. But you have to. It's part of the job. And as long as you can look that person in the face and be honest with them, I think it's pretty strict.
Can I make some recommendations for firings? I'm kidding.
No.
Yeah, maybe you're off the air. No, actually, I do like the vast majority of what you guys do. The people over there, what you guys are doing. Yeah. And obviously, you're going to have disagreements. I'm predisposed not to like the Michigan's beating everybody by 50 points show that appears midday on your airwaves. But
good people.
There's an audience for that. It's just not. It's not this one, obviously.
Yeah.
But obviously, big fan of what you do. I was a fan years before you knew who I was.
You were a fan of mine before I even knew what the hell we were doing.
I think I knew you were good before anybody, but maybe your parents, or maybe your wife. But
I'll tell you what.
I was your first fan.
There were two people that caught on extremely early. There was you, three people, yourself, Sean Belizean, and Drew Lane.
Well, two icons and then me. Great.
Remember, Sean Belizean was part of the network early on, and he was a big part of it.
Sean's a friend of mine.
Great guy. Yeah. Love Sean. And Drew also lended his voice at the beginning and was, helping up coaching talent and trying to identify talent on the network. And I was considered somebody with potential, but I have so much responsibility. It's impossible for me to dedicate myself to a show. And I stood my ground for a year. I refused to get anywhere near a show. I just felt it was impossible. There was no way the amount of views I would project to pull was worth me from my administrative duties. And boy, was I wrong. I was totally wrong on that. And then one day, Chad, who's the CEO, investor, founder, sits down and says, tomorrow, I need you to do the show. Like, we have been talking about this for a while. We need to change going into football season. What's the best decision for the company moving forward? And we make the swap. Nobody expects it. Thursday morning, we show up, whole new show. Me, Kennedy, Jeff. And I mean, the proof is there. The views are there. The engagement's there. And the rest is history. And I've kind of had to take a step back in a lot of the things I do. Some for the betterment of the company, some not. And to this day, we still struggle with a lot of it. And we're a startup. So we're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to try and grow. I'm going to continue to try to manage my time the best way I can. But yeah, man, the hardest part about what I do is I have to give 150% to everything I do. And there's no time in the day for it.
Yeah,
the show, hours. To get the show prepped, all the topics, just the topics, not even my research. Just to get the topics, hour and a half. Research and prep, another 4, 5, 6, depends on what we're doing. And if I'm doing a deep dive, good luck. It took me about 2 hours. No, it took me almost 3 hours, basically, to come up with that 15-minute tirade. 2 to 3 hours spent on the first 15 minutes of the show. Try doing that for 9-8 segments. Like, it's a lot. And then you have to be in front of the company, talking to your employees, board meetings, projection meetings,
That's
getting
something
data.
Mike Funny doesn't have to do, by the way.
Of course,
I mean, that there is a difference.
Yeah, no, totally different aspect. I mean, would I love to be just a talent? Sure, but I've lived in this startup world for the last 5-6 years of my life. I love it. Like, I love working the long hours. I love wearing many hats. Built the damn studio.
Yeah.
I'm not even an engineer.
I'll say this now. If you go back to the administrative stuff in a cubicle or something, like, I'm going to kill you. Because I need you on camera.
Oh, yeah.
I need you out there. I was so mad because you like fill in or you do your segments all the time and stuff. And like, can we get this fucking asshole back out here, please? Like, you get this guy.
Well, January I cut cold turkey. I was like, I'm going to the back. We are struggling behind the scenes.
And I complained.
You guys need to figure out the
whole
show.
time.
Everybody, we need to figure out the show. Focus on that. Make it the best thing you guys can do. Sean, Joy, Stick, Joey, Corey. Make it the best thing we can have. Grow the network. And then obviously we got Darren McCarty, who was amazing. Tom Mazaway. So we started to grow. And then really it was a period from March to August, September, really till August, where it was myself, a lot of people in the company. I'll just name a few: Justin, Jesse, Chad himself getting involved. A lot of us putting our heads at the table. Joey, Sam. But a lot of the execution was, we don't have time. We're doing this. We're doing that. So it was a good 6-7 month period where we overhauled everything in the company. And then at the end of the day, it's turned out for the best. And we were pretty prepared for football season. And you know what? Whenever the teams are good, that's good for us. Nobody wants the teams to lose. That's not a thing. Ratings aren't better when the teams lose. I promise you. I have the data.
I did threaten to leave forever if Kennedy left. And she did leave.
She broke my heart.
And
I'm so happy for her.
I love you enough to have stuck with you, and non-regrettably, because you're awesome. But Kennedy's a stud, though.
I mean, you want to talk about handling people at work? Kennedy's the perfect example. I mean, to cultivate that kind of talent and get her to where she was, and it was all her. I mean, it's not like we did anything special. We just gave her the platform. But she crushed, and she had an opportunity. And I would be an asshole to try and keep her. I'm choking right now.
I mean, everyone with Kennedy in particular, like, she was such an easy spot, at least for me. I thought I was really cool thinking she was good, and then I started talking to people, and they're like, yeah, no shit. Like you, Isaac, like anybody I talked to was like, yeah, like she's.
Oh, Isaac.
Yeah.
I love Isaac.
He's the man, too. Another multi-time appearer on this show. So I don't know, you guys are tied now at 2 each, so it'll be the rubber match at some point.
Yeah, I got to be Isaac on that one. Got to beat him on something. Can't beat him on the food.
He's tough, man. He's the man. So, man, it was a great time with you again. Let's not let it be like 13 months.
Yeah, definitely not a year. Let's do 2-3 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Something, rotational.
Get you like in a regular rotation.
I'll keep inviting you on. I mean, you have the number.
Keep inviting me on.
You
I've
can
never
call
been
in.
invited on.
You can call in anytime. Well, I mean, from a calling standpoint.
Calling like Joe from Pontiac.
Well, I never know your Scott. I mean, it is a morning show. You have
Am I
work.
banned from there? Be honest, because I heard a rumor that I was discouraged from appearing by not your show. But
I mean, you are probably banned on other shows. Definitely not on mine.
I heard like, short of my picture on the wall, I was effectively banned.
Oh no, we don't have like this, people can't appear list. But if there was, I'm sure you'd be at the top.
I'm like right there next to the guy that used to counterfeit $1 bill at Lady Jane's. Like, it's my picture's right there. No. Well, people should check you out if they haven't already. I'm seeing you're growing and stuff. Just in terms of the objective, people watching your Twitter following and stuff is climbing. And people, if they haven't discovered you yet, they got to get on board here because you're the most prepared. I mean, you are like the film rat quarterback of the Detroit media. Like, just no one is more prepared than you. I honestly believe that. You laid out some of the hours, which are just, I mean, I figured it was a lot, but even more obscene than I thought. So, honestly, friend of mine, obviously, but before you were a friend of mine, I was just a fan
Biggest
of yours.
fan.
So
day one fan. The first one to give me a compliment on the Woodward Sports channels was Justin Spiro, just a heads up.
Yeah, I think I was actually the first 37 compliments. They were all me, actually. But now people are catching on. You're growing now, and I'm rooting for you.
I mean, it's a crazy game. It is. And I don't like to diminish it and call it a game, but I mean, this is entertainment at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I can be as prepared as I want to be. If I'm not entertaining, it doesn't matter. Yeah. No one's going to tune in.
You can just get more people to worry about. Ben and I just have each other to worry about. And Eric works, from his couch. So he mostly avoids our tirades. But, man, I'm rooting for you. People got to check you out.
Yep. Thank you.
Do all the radio fun stuff. Morning Woodward Show, 8 to 10, Monday through Friday.
Yep. Monday through Friday. Catch us on live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Live on the radio from 10 to 12:30 every day. We're on Riff 94.7, HD2, 93.1, 93.5, 99.1. Yeah, check us out. Woodward Sports. Feel free to give me a follow. If you're a Detroit Lions fan, you probably don't want to follow me. Depends what your cup of tea is. But if you follow Justin, you'll definitely enjoy following me.
Yes, and we've had your Twitter name up there like 1,000 times with the lower third, but it is at Adham Beydoun. Mm-hmm. And technically it's Adham, right? Did I say
No, it is Adam. It is Adam. Let's settle that debate. I am tired of people bringing that up to me.
Oh, oops, sorry.
No, not like in that sense, but like people always ask me like, well, how do you say your name? I'm like, Adam.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you sure? I'm sure.
Are you
it's
sure?
my name.
Yeah. Can you verify that?
No.
Oh, they should check you out, man. And honestly, I think you and I will be in front of our TVs watching intently this weekend with the Rams.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it might be actually better for both of us if the Rams lose, because we will be so insufferable. At least I will be. I can't speak.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. If they win, there's nothing I'm going to say Monday morning that is going to shock anybody. Believe me, I'm going to be cynical as fuck.
You better.
Detroit is not ready for a Matthew Stafford NFC Championship appearance. Having said that, he's already given middle fingers to the city. He's done it. Playoff win, division win. The most wins he's ever had in the regular season, and he did it in 16 games, by the way. He lost the 17th game. So I don't even want to hear that. It's not even close.
We're in gravy territory, but man, would the gravy be sweet.
Oh.
It'd be the sweetest gravy.
Gravy. I have been desperately looking, and I'm not sure if you can help me after the show, for a Detroit Lions, the mascot head. I have not found anything close to it.
The Rory head?
Yeah. I haven't found it. And if Matthew Stafford wins, I'm showing up on Monday with a Lions head on my whatever head. I don't know what they call it, mask, whatever it is. I'm going to be wearing a Matthew Stafford jersey, and I'm going to have Martha Ford, Sheila Ford, William Clay Ford right on my desk. And there's going to be an abundance of middle fingers going up that show. Can't wait.
I'll be making an in-studio appearance that day. Maybe not on camera, but I'll be in the building. So, all right, man. It was a blast.
Yeah, it's always fun. I love talking to you, man.
You might be back next week. If the Rams win, I might be. If the Rams go to the Super Bowl, we're going to do a 10-hour Super Bowl preview show.
Absolutely.
Just you and I. We'll get extra waters for that one. But, man, I'm excited.
I was choking near the end. I almost lost my voice.
Talking to me is going to be putting anyone through the ringer, man, frankly.
No, I always enjoy talking to you.
I appreciate it. Right back at you, man. So, Justin Spiro Avenue Show. Thanks to Adham Beydoun, Woodward Sports Network. Check him out 8 to 10, Monday through Friday. Thank you to the great and powerful Oz Ben on the other side of the curtain. Always does a beautiful job for us. Eric Williamson, who is probably asleep, frankly, by now on his couch. Hopefully, he'll catch the show at some point. We love him as well. And, special thanks right at the end here to The Only Colors, who gave me a guest column spot that I was not too big of a disaster in, that they invited me back to write another one at some point. So we had a lot of fun writing that article on Keaton Hauser and Jeremy Bernard, talking about their appearance here behind the scenes. Check it out, theonlycolors.com. Great guys over there, and Ryan and David Harns really held my hand. They said we will fully accept all the slings and arrows that come from publishing anything that you write, which is inevitable when you deal in these waters, but they didn't care, neither do I. So, hey, just like those Stafford haters, you Darko State News haters, you can go to hell too, but we love most of you. Justin Spiro Avenue Show, Adham Beydoun, great to have you, man.
Thank you.
We'll see you.